right, we're getting sending signal over, everybody. We're gonna get this show going. All right, we are streaming live, everybody. So let's get this going. So we are going, everybody. So welcome, everybody. So we are live, everybody. Let me just post this really quick on the socials really quick. All right, we are live. Let me just get that link really quick and we'll get going. All right, cool. All right. We are good to go, everybody. So welcome, everybody. We have something really special today. So we are going to be doing our first sponsored build stream here live here on Twitch. And for those of you who aren't watching the Twitch live stream, the VOD will be, of course, be on my YouTube channel. I'm really excited for this opportunity. Before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the designer of this keyboard. He goes by the name Thebloodyezkb. He is a keyboard designer doing some amazing work within the space and within the hobby. And he was gracious enough to send me one of his prototype units to promote for the upcoming group buy. So this board is called the ETAR87. And it's a really interesting board. It's an F-Rowless full-size keyboard that is going to be running on group buy through a wide variety of vendors. The vendor I'm going to be focusing on is going to be Keycaps. They're going to be the vendor for the United States and most of North America. And the board is going to be starting at $355, which I think is a really, really good price point for what this board does and what this board offers to the people who are interested in purchasing it. So we're going to kind of go through it. This is going to be a little bit of a more interesting stream because we're going to build this board a ton of different ways. This board supports a couple different mounting styles. We're going to kind of fully tear down the board and let you look at all the components and all the parts. And we also have a wide variety of keycap sets, and we have a couple different switch types as well that we're going to be building this board. So we're going to be rebuilding this board a few times tonight here on stream to really showcase what you can do with this particular board. I'm going to have this board for a long time because one thing that's really cool about this keyboard, it supports Cherry MX, but it also supports Topre, and it supports my personal favorite, Alps. And for the purposes of the stream tonight, we're only going to be doing Cherry MX because I had to have the Alps plates fully custom built by Tom over at Hype Keyboard. So I'll keep everyone posted on when we're going to get those plates in, but for the purposes of the stream and just kind of showcasing what you can do with this board, we're mainly going to be focusing on Cherry MX. So we have a couple of cool switch types that we're going to focus on. So I want to open up, this is the case that it came in, and I want to kind of unzip it and kind of just show you. Now, to be completely transparent, everyone, this is a prototype unit. There may be a handful of things that may change for the final production units that people will get. This group buy is going to run on Keycaps from September 25th to October 15th and will cost $355. It'll have a wide variety of colors. It'll support Windows key. It'll support Win keyless. You will have a solder PCB, which will support Cherry MX and Alps. You also have a Hotswap PCB, which will support Cherry MX only, which is really cool. So we're going to open up the case and we're going to pull out a few pieces and kind of showcase what we kind of get in the case. So I really want to kind of focus on the star of the show for this particular build, which is going to be the ETAR87. So this is the actual keyboard itself, which is really cool. So I'll close the case for right now and put this to the side. We'll look at the other parts that come with this case. And we will really be looking at this particular board in great detail. There's a lot of really cool industrial design on display with this particular keyboard. And I'm really kind of excited to showcase what this board can do and why this is an interesting project that you should consider supporting. So as you can see, this is a full-size keyboard, but if you look at it, this is what we call an F-Rowless keyboard. So there is no F-Row. So I'll pull out another keyboard I have. I'll pull out my keyboard that I have. So it supports Alps and Cherry MX. We're going to go through the PCBs. I happen to have both the Hotswap Cherry MX PCB and I have the solder PCB. So I'll kind of show you, again, what to look for when solder PCBs that are really good. So I want to pull out another keyboard. that I built on just to kind of give you, those of you who may be newer to kind of keyboards, what an F-Rowless keyboard is. So right here we have a board called the Vertex Intro S100. This board is a proper full-size keyboard, and as you can see at the very top, we have the F-Row. So we have an F-Row up here, but as you can see on this board, the top row is going to be our number row. So there is no F-Row on the ETAR87. So that's just something to note what an F-Rowless full-size keyboard is. One thing to know, if you're interested in someone who does use the F-Row or any of the keys that are kind of missing at the top of the home cluster, what you can kind of do is set up layers. So you can kind of set up like a function key, like whether your Windows key is, or down here it's usually what I do, or maybe you can split your right shift, and you just press that function key, and that'll give you again full access to having an F-Row here. So there are ways to kind of work around not having an F-Row. So we're just going to put that keyboard to the side. I'm just using that for if I have to do anything on my computer. But it's a really beautiful board. Another thing too, the plate is aluminum today. There will be other plate materials available. You're going to have FR4, you're going to have aluminum. You also have POM or polycarbonate plates available to let you kind of tune what you want to do, which is really kind of cool. So we'll kind of look, just kind of take a look around the board. One thing I do want to highlight is this back weight. So one thing that's really cool about the back weight of this particular board is we can really kind of see it's a brass weight right here, but there are actually two weights. You can see this line right here kind of splits down the middle. There are actually two weights here, and when you put them together with this little seam, it kind of forms one kind of uniform nice weight. One thing that's really kind of cool as well too, there's just kind of a nice little design detail on this particular board, is you can see there's this engraving that goes around the perimeter of the actual weight, which is really nice. It's a really nice kind of custom touch that the designer kind of opted to do. And it's just really kind of nice. On the bottom of the case, you have 10 screws that hold the case together. This is a big boy keyboard, so you want to be able to kind of hold that all together, which is really nice. And then, of course, we have a slightly offset USB-C port, so which is really nice. And this, the PCBs are fully GMK compatible. So again, if you plug it into VIA, you can reprogram and again set everything to the way that you want to have it. So that's really nice having that GMK compatibility. It's kind of the gold standard. For this particular model, we're also going Win keyless. So one thing about this, for those of you who may not know what Win keyless is, this is just kind of a throwback called to the AT101 layout that the original IBM Model M came up with back in the day. So these are just, again, blockers here. Most people kind of pick them for aesthetic reasons. A lot of people really who opt not to use Windows keys don't really need them, so they often have these blockers. But if you like your Windows key or your Meta key, there will be an option where you will not have these blockers, and you can have a full bottom row with your control, your alt, and also your Windows keys. So that's a really cool thing. So we're going to kind of, I'm going to put the case to the side. I want to touch on the PCBs, because that's what makes this project really interesting. So we're just going to put the ETAR up here at the top, so you guys can kind of look at that in all of its glory. And we're going to kind of pull out the PCBs, because that's something I think is really special about this project. We'll also have the assembly and other parts here we'll also talk about. But I really want to pull out the PCBs to really kind of highlight what makes this particular project really special and why it really piqued my interest, and why I kind of reached out to the Bloody Eyes to really work with this project. So let me just kind of get the plastic rack out of these for these PCBs out of here. So we have both I have both PCBs on hand for this particular board. So this red PCB is the solder PCB, which is real. This is the PCB that really is what really piqued my interest with this product. So I want to kind of hold it up, and as you can kind of see, there's really interesting mounting holes on this particular PCB. And what's really cool, when you see holes like this on your PCB, that means it supports both Cherry MX and Alps. So when I saw this board a couple months ago, I saw the PCB and I said, "Oh my gosh, that supports Alps," and that really piqued my interest. I've really kind of become an overnight expert on Alps, and have loved kind of showcasing Alps and things like that, and kind of the crazy things you can do in converting modern keyboards to the awesomeness that is Alps switches. So this is a really cool PCB. For the purposes of our group buy stream today, we are not going to be doing a solder build, and we're not building with Alps. Part of the reason is I don't have the Alps plates. Now, a shout out, the Alps plates are really interesting. The Alps plates are actually designed by Carolus over at carolingian.com. So the Bloody Eyes actually sent his Cherry MX plate files over to Carolus. And Carolus is, if you don't know who Carolus is like the go-to guy when it comes to modern Alps conversions and modern keyboards. So he's really talented, and he's really amazing at what he does, and he's really good at designing plate files or converting plate files to convert keyboards over to Alps. Because one thing about Alps, they take their own pinout on a PCB, and they also take their own distinct plate. There is no interchangeability with Alps in terms of plates compared to Cherry MX. So that's something to really kind of be aware of as we kind of go through that. So we will be, I'm going to, for transparency, the Bloody Eyes did send me this prototype, and he's going to let me keep it for a little while so we can kind of wait on the Alps plates to come, and we can kind of showcase what Alps can actually do in this particular keyboard. So we will be, don't worry folks, those of you who really are a fan of Alps or have been seeing what I've been doing with Alps, don't worry, we are going to do Alps builds in this thing. We just kind of have to wait. So for the purposes of our build stream tonight to showcase it, for this particular board, the way the plate is designed, it's going to support Alp stabs. If you're interested in having like DCS keycaps, you would probably have to. I would probably have to reach out to the Bloody Eyes and Careless to adapt the plate so you can take Cherry MX stabs to use DCS keycaps. But as the Alps plates are designed right now, they are only going to support original pattern Alps stabilizers. But again, we can use DCS keycaps just the way we have the plate designed. Again, it's a very simple fix. And again, hopefully by the time we get the board to production, again, we can have an Alps plate that will be available for people to either have OG pattern Alps plate mount stabilizers, or if they want to use DCS, we can have, again, a plate design where you can use Cherry MX stabilizers to support Alps, to support the DCS Alps keycaps. So that's just something to note. So again, when I get the Alps build in, we'll definitely go into more detail about Alps. I don't want to get too much on a tangent on Alps for today, because again, most of the focus is going to be on what this board can do with Cherry MX. Alps will be for kind of a separate stream once we get those plates in. So I'm going to put the solder PCB back in its plastic wrap just to keep it safe, because for the purposes of stream tonight, we're not going to be doing a solder build. So I'm going to put this one to the side and just kind of keep it safe. So we'll put that PCB to the side, and I want to talk about the Cherry MX Hotswap PCB. So this is, again, this is also a prototype Hotswap PCB. There are some adjustments and changes that will be made to this PCB for the final production run. But again, it's a really nice PCB. You get a nice, decent amount of support, which is really nice on this one. This one is for the bottom row, at least for the wing keyless. It's pretty much fixed to a 7U bottom row. So if you want to use like a 6.25U spacebar, I believe the Hotswap is going to support that in the final production. But just for the purposes of our stream, this is a pretty fixed layout on this PCB, and it's not entirely representative of the type of PCB that we're going to have in our final production run. So just kind of take that with a grain of salt. There are some quirks with this PCB, just because it is mind you, this is a production unit. Sorry, a prototype unit, not a final production unit, friends. But one thing that is really nice, you have, again, you do have some other support. Both of your shifts can be split, and you can also do split backspace. So that's something that's really nice in the Hotswap. We're basically going to be building this pretty standard. We're not going to do any split backspace or split shifts. We're going to build this as a pretty standard build. So that's going to be pretty good. And also for the purposes of the stream, I want to kind of go through the keycaps and switches that we're going to be working with, because we're going to be building this board a few different ways on stream tonight. So we have two sets of switches that on hand that we're going to use. I decided I wanted to use, and also just talking with people online. So one switch that we're going to use are going to be Cherry MX Nixies. Nixies are a really kind of classic Cherry MX switch. They have a very satisfying sound, and these are really, really nice and very satisfying switches from the Cherry MX lineup. And then the other switch, I wanted to try a long pole stem switch, and that's going to be our Gateron Grayish. So these are going to be a tactile switch. So we're going to be able to try out a linear switch that's a little bit heavier, and then we're going to be able to try a tactile switch from two very different manufacturers. So we're going Cherry MX tonight. And that's going to be really nice. And those of you who are interested in getting this is called the ETAR87 because it takes 87 switches in its kind of standard configuration. So those of you who are interested in getting this and want to pick up switches that you plan on using, or trying to see if you have enough switches on hand, you need 87 switches at a bare minimum for kind of the standard layout for this particular board. So that's going to be really cool. So I want to put the PCB to the side, and we're going to kind of start taking the case apart and kind of tearing it down, really let you see what this board is about, and just looking at some of the design features of this particular board. So we're going to flip it over. So as you can see on the bottom of this board, you have 10 screws holding the case together. So let me get my screwdriver out, and we'll start pulling this board apart. And really kind of showcasing again how this board is assembled and how this board is put together. So we're going to get these out. We're going to get our screwdriver bit out, and we're just going to start pulling out these screws. And that'll allow us to get access to the internals of the case. And also I want to take a look at the weights and how those are constructed, and also the internal construction of this particular case. So we're really going to go in depth on this particular board and really give a good idea of what you can expect, at least for a Cherry MX build. Now, one thing that's really cool about this board, the solder PCB will support Cherry MX and Alps, and the Bloody Eyes is working on a Topre conversion kit for this particular keyboard. Now, Topre / electrocapacitive keyboards have become really, really popular over the past couple of years, especially with projects like Dynacap coming out from Clever and the guys over at OmniType, and just kind of more interest within Topre and EC. For the time period I'll have this board, I will not be doing any of the Topre stuff with this board. That is kind of something that will be coming at a later date. But this is the fact that this board can support the 3 kind of most common switches that people kind of tinker around with and utilize is going to be absolutely fantastic. That's an amazing amount of support and compatibility for this particular keyboard. So that's something that's really, really nice. So we're just kind of getting it in. But this is going to be a little bit of a longer stream. Even though we're working with Hotswap, we're going to be on stream for a good while for this because I really want to showcase this project and the fact of all the different things that you're able to do with this particular keyboard. So we're pulling out it, but again, this is a big keyboard, so it's a big boy keyboard. And I also have some of my other full sizes that I have in my personal collection. Of course, I just showed off the S100, but I have 3 other keyboard full sizes. You can also see one of my retro Alps keyboards in the background too. We can definitely kind of compare sizes to. And see how this kind of stacks up to like vintage full sizes and of course the more modern full sizes that have come out recently. So one thing that is interesting within the keyboard market, we've seen a lot of really interesting full-size projects. Again, we're kind of also promoting the people over at ClickClack. They're going to be, for at least for the American buyers of this group buy, they're going to be facilitating this group buy for us here in North America. And what's really nice about them is I'm also in a group buy for another board that they're fulfilling, which is going to be the Vertex Seal, which is a really cool full-size. So we're going to, oh, I forgot a screw, everybody. That's what happens when we do it live on stream. So let me pull out that last screw that I missed, and then we'll be able to see the kind of the internal assembly of this particular board. So it's a really good time. So let's kind of see it. All right, now we can kind of separate the top and the bottom case. So one thing about this board, it does support top mount and it supports bottom mount. And the bottom mount is actually really interesting in terms of its implementation. So on this stream tonight, we will be doing builds that both support the top mount and also the bottom mount. So again, depending on what type of mounting style you want to go with, again, it can give you a different feel or a different sound profile, depending on your personal preference. So we're not really going to focus on the plate and the top case. I really want to kind of showcase the bottom case first. So we're going to put our top case to the side, and we're really going to kind of focus on looking at the bottom case because I really want to focus on how this is built. So one thing that's really interesting, if we look right here, we're going to see these different mounting points right here. So these are going to be the mounting points for the bottom mount of the particular keyboard. So that's going to be really important in terms of giving us a different type of feel that's different from the stiffness and the firmness of top mount. So that's going to be really cool. But before we kind of do that, I want to take out the bottom weights and give you an idea of, again, how these bottom weights are inserted into the case and give you a feel of just how they are manufactured, which is really nice. So we're going to take out these bottom screws on our bottom case and we're going to showcase the weights because I think the weights are really interesting. So that's going to be a really kind of cool way to kind of see how this board is kind of showcased. So we're going to do that. So we're getting this one going. So perfect. We're just pulling out all these little screws right here. And then we'll start pulling out these weights, folks. So that's going to be a really good time. All right. Cool. Oh, almost there. Perfect. So we're pulling out the screws. Let's get the screws on the other way. And again, there are 2 brass weights at the bottom. They kind of form together to give you kind of one long brass weight at the bottom. So it does give the board a decent amount of weight, which is really nice. So that's a really just kind of nice thing in terms of this board and what we can kind of expect out of this particular board. So also anyone who is watching, again, if you have any questions about the board or anything like that, or you just want to say hi, please feel free to put that in the chat. Again, if you are interested, again, especially if you are interested in joining this group buy, I definitely encourage any and all questions, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability, or I can ask the Bloody Eyes, and we can also post those publicly. So if there's any questions at all, folks. But this is a really cool board. Another thing that's interesting too is its price point. They're going to be it's going to be starting at $355. The original price for this board was going to be about $450. So the fact that we were able to drop it below, well below $400 is freaking fantastic. So that's really nice. So I'm going to carefully take out these weights, and I want to scratch up the case. There we go. So I'll put the weights to the side. We can kind of see just kind of the bottom case and seeing all that CNCing. And just kind of how this case is put together. So really, really cool. Another thing, an important thing to note too, this also uses a unified daughter board, which is really nice. So unified daughter board with the JST, and we'll get that out once we start putting the actual board itself together. So, excuse me. So that's something that's really, really kind of cool. Just kind of looking at how this is built. And again, those weights go through the entirety of the case. So that's pretty cool. So there's this nice little inlet lip too here that the weights kind of rest on, to kind of hold them inside the bottom of the case, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to put the top case to the side out of the way really quick, just so we can take a look at the weights. So here are our weights. So we have two weights are made of solid brass, so they have a pretty decent weight. I say around I'd say give or take a kilogram each. So they have a very nice weight. So that's going to give your final build and your board a very, very nice weight. So another thing I also want to highlight too is that actual engraving on the bottom of the weight. So that's something that's really kind of nice. A nice little kind of detail and kind of accent on the bottom of the case that really just gives the board a really nice feel. So that's going to be something that's going to be really, really cool that we have it. And of course, this weight is a little bit different because we have the cutout to make room for the daughter board and the JST connector. But on the bottom, pretty much both of the weights are kind of mirrored, which is kind of cool. So that's how they would appear on the actual bottom of the case. So that's something that's pretty interesting in terms of how we look at it. So that is pretty good, folks. So really, really nice one. So I'm going to put these weights back to the side, and we're going to bring the bottom case back, and we're going to reassemble these weights in here. It's really the only thing we got to disassemble on the very bottom. So let me carefully put these weights back in. There we go. And then we'll get those screws reassembled. So we just want to get that in. Oh, there we go. Let's just carefully insert these weights. There we go. All right, there we go. So let's reassemble those, and we'll really kind of look at the top portion of the case as well. And there'll be other aspects too of the design especially when we put the bottom mount in, because the bottom mount has a really interesting implementation and how it's put into the actual case. So that's something that's really cool. So we're just gonna remount these actual screws, and we'll get everything going, friends. But this is gonna be a really cool board, a really cool stream, and we also have some really cool keycaps that we're gonna be working with this evening, which is really nice. So I'm really, really excited to kind of see what keycaps we kind of go with too. So we're gonna build this a couple different ways. So I'll kind of show y'all what kind of keycaps. But I'm gonna also, just for kind of showcase purposes, I'm gonna post a lot of pictures with this board with different keycaps, particularly from GMK. I have a lot of GMK sets on hand. And I have 5 GMK sets off to the side here that we're going to kind of look at and kind of decide what we want to build the board with. So that's going to be really kind of cool. So we're just putting the screws back and the weight for the bottom. And then we'll kind of move on to the top case and kind of showcase what that is. And we'll also remove the top plate just to get everything in there. So, oh, come on. There we go. Just trying to get those screws all in there. So that's going to be really good. And there we go. All right, perfect. And then this one, perfect. All right, we got our bottom weights reassembled, everybody. So there we go. I'm gonna put my bottom case to the side, and we'll show off the kind of top mount, which is pretty interesting. So we're gonna pull these screws out, and we'll take a look at our plate too. It's a really nice plate. So for the purposes of our build today, we have an aluminum plate. So just kind of let that know in terms of when we actually do a sound test. We're going to have the sound of what an aluminum plate sounds like, and we will test the sound with both the bottom mount and also the top mount. So we're just going to kind of pull that out, and we'll get this board going. So really, really good. So have that one, and then we're going to do our other sets of screws. But that's really nice. And again, my personal preference for builds, I really like top mount. I'm a top mount guy. I like that. Top mount's one of the OG kind of styles. What's up, the Bloody Eyes? What's up, my man? So thanks for jumping on, my man. So this is going to be a really fun stream. And the Bloody Eyes, I just want to say a huge thank you for this opportunity, my man. Like, I'm really grateful to be able to look at this beautiful board that you've designed, and I'm so happy it's finally going to group buy. So again, just a big thank you to you, and also just the folks over at GeekHack and all the other vendors who are going to be facilitating this group buy. Again, just huge thank you for you, my man. So there we go. So that's what we're going to do. So we have a really cool plate. I love that it's red, so always nice touch when you have the red plates. So I just want to kind of showcase a little bit of the actual top case. On the Bloody Eyes, we just kind of broke down the bottom case, and we'll be going into the details about the really interesting bottom mount solution you have, which is going to be really cool. But also, folks who are watching, we got the Bloody Eyes. We got the designer here on stream, which is really nice. So ask any and all questions, and we can see if we can answer them. But this is a really cool top case. I really like the implementation of this particular one. So again, we have the mounting points for top mount. And again, we'll also go over how the bottom mount works in this particular board. It's really interesting, the solution that the Bloody Eyes kind of came up with for this particular board. So we're going to kind of put the top case to the side because we really kind of want to focus on, again, our just kind of highlighting some things about this plate. So one thing about the plate I think is really nice is, again, it does support, again, some of the different options on this PCB. So it does support, again, the split shifts, which is really nice. You also have split backspace support. And then again, also too, on your numpad, if you wanted to split your 2U keys on your spacebar, you can also do that. So that's something that's really kind of nice in terms of support. I really like seeing that. And also too, on the bottom of this plate, it also sees we have 6.5U support as well, which is really kind of nice. So that's something that's really kind of cool, is giving users options in terms of what you want to do. So that's going to be really cool. So we have our particular PCB right here as well, where, again, for the purposes of our group buy stream tonight, we are going to be doing Hotswap. We will be doing a solder build with Alps at a later date, folks. So just kind of, but we're really going to be showcasing what you can expect to do with this board in terms of Cherry MX today, which is going to be really cool. So, so the Bloody Eyes, I wanted to ask you, man, while you're on here, I wanted to just ask you what we're going to build the board a couple of ways on stream tonight to showcase. So I have Cherry MX Nixies and I have Gateron Grayish. These are the ones I kind of selected. Nixies because they're classic linears, and also Grayish because it's a cool long pole stem that I really enjoy. For our first version of this build that we're going to do this evening, which one would you prefer? You want us to start off with Nixies, or would you want us to start off with the long pole Gateron Grayish? I just wanted to see what would you kind of prefer if you'd wanted to kind of jump on, my men. So we'll kind of leave those for the second. While we're doing that, we also got to figure out our, let's go tactile, sweet my man. And then one other question while you're on here, I want to showcase the keycap options I have. We're going to build it with a few keycaps as well. I don't know if we'll be able to do all of them this on stream, but I have a few keycap sets. So I have GMK ZX we could do. I have the greatness that is GMK Greg. I have the classic white on black. I know you're a big fan of white on black, which is really cool. I got blue alert. And then I also have the weirdness that is GMK Ruber Hose. So, I mean, for our first version that we're going to kind of do the build, like what GMK set would you kind of do? I kind of looked through my library, and these are the ones I thought would be kind of cool to put on this board. But I'm also going to be off camera and off stream, be doing this build with a ton of other keycap sets to kind of showcase what it can look like. So, I don't know. So we have Ruber Hose, we got blue alert. Okay, cool. Ruber Hose is pretty sick. I mean, we can also have like the really crazy color accents, so we can kind of get weird. So we definitely will do Ruber Hose for the first one. I think for my second build that we do with Nixies, I'm thinking doing Greg or like white on black, but we'll kind of see. So we'll definitely do Ruber Hose for our first build. And I also have like all the crazy color accents. So we can probably go a little kind of weird and see how we can make the board even just kind of weirder. So it'll be fun, everybody. So. What's up, Rubber Bagel? So that's going to be cool. So we got to do the kind of the boring part of stream. I got to loop stabilizers, everybody. So that's not the most glorious part, but this is probably going to be the most, I say, tedious and time-consuming part of the build. So I'm going to put my plate and stuff over to the side, and we're just, we are literally going to be looping stabilizers. So this is a full-size board, and we're building it with a full complement of stabilizers. So we have to do a set of 8 freaking stabilizers for this particular board, folks. And then we'll kind of start jumping into kind of doing assembly in terms of that interesting bottom mount. But that's what we got to do first, everybody. So the not so glorious part of this particular build. So let me get it out. So again, we're using Type Plus stabilizers. I really like these stabilizers. These are just kind of one of my go-tos. And we're also going to, for the lube, we're going to be using dielectric grease. That's what I like using on my stabs. So we're going to get all of our wires out here, folks. And then we're going to go from there. So we got a nice So this is going to be probably the most tedious part of the build, but hey, we're going to get there and we're going to put all these stabs together and then make this really, really cool. So, so I guess we're going with Rubber Hose and again, Gateron Grayish to start us off. So that's going to be really cool. So we'll go good old Gateron Grayish for this particular build. So, and again, we will be building it with Nixies a little later in stream. So this will be a little bit of a longer stream, even though we're not soldering. I just want to really showcase what you can do with this build. The Gateron Grayish will be cool because this is going to give this board a really nice sound profile in terms of using a long pull stem. So that's going to be really nice, giving us that kind of distinct sound that you do get out of long pulls, which is going to be really cool. So, but yeah, this is a really cool board. Board has, it supports top mount. It supports this really interesting bottom mount solution, which we're going to go over in a little bit. But it's a really cool board. So this board really piqued my interest because it supports Alps. Again, I'm a big Alps guy. I love my Cherry MX, but when I saw the PCB initially, I saw that it supported Alps, and that's what really kind of piqued my interest. But I'm really excited to showcase what this board can do in terms of Cherry MX, because that's the vast majority of people who are most likely interested in this board are really going to be on the Cherry MX side, which is going to be fantastic. Like, this will make an awesome Cherry MX board. And one thing that's been really cool over the past year or so is we've had some amazing options for full sizes. The custom keyboard space has been absolutely amazing these past few years, but we've really been limited in options in terms of full sizes. So that's something that's going to be, this is a really cool project to support. So those of you who are interested in potentially adding a full size to your collection, or you want a full size mechanical keyboard that's fully custom, this is going to be a really cool project for you to potentially support. So I'm really excited for this project and to be able to finally have this board in hand and be able to like promote it and do a build, do some builds, and it's going to be a really, really cool thing. So I'm really excited for this, and it's going to be really, really nice. So this is going to be a really cool board, and it's also just a really nice shout out to the Bloody Eyes and just kind of your final production and how you guys are getting to group buy is the reduction in price. So the initial interest check when this board was posted, they were aiming for between $400 and $450 depending on how many units they would potentially sell. And when the official group buy was announced, the final price was $355, and that's a really that is a lot. Don't get me wrong. But let's kind of put that into perspective. I have 3 full sizes off camera here that have ran within the last year, and all of those full sizes are like north of $600. So full sizes inherently are very expensive. Believe it or not, there's not as much interest in them. So that's why when you do see custom full sizes, they're very expensive. So the fact that the Bloody Eyes is targeting sub $400 on the board is fantastic. Like, for a full size, $355 is absolutely fantastic. That's a really, really good price point for this particular project. The thing that's really nice too to kind of help you make a more informed decision, I'm kind of early looking at this board. You'll have some other bigger people looking at this board as well. 2 of the more notable people looking at this board are going to be, again, the one and only Alex Odos, and of course Jay over at Prototypist. So if you're interested in this project, again, definitely really make an informed buying decision. Again, I recommend you watch, again, my stream, watch the VOD. Again, also when Alex Odos and Jay's streams come up, definitely watch theirs and hear their opinions on the board. But again, overall, I got an opportunity to really kind of look at this board in depth last night in preparation for this. And there's a lot of things I really, really like about this project. So this is going to be really, really cool. So we're really excited to look at this board and to kind of help promote and get the word out for this project. It's a really cool project. So we're just lubing our stabilizers, folks. So that's kind of the more tedious part of this. But once we get these stabilizers lubed, then we can do the fun part of like installing switches and installing keycaps, and then playing around what this board sounds like, and also playing around with the different mounting styles. Because I think that's one thing that's also, in addition to Alps support, having the different mounting styles and giving us as users choice in this board is really interesting. So I really like it when boards give us, the end user, choices in how we want to customize the board and how we want the board to kind of sound and meet our personal needs as keyboard users and keyboard enthusiasts. So that's something that's going to be really cool. So all right, we got our first of many stabilizers. So we're going to get those going. So that's going to be, this is a really cool project, and I think it's just a really good design overall. So, and the thing too, within the market, there aren't that many full, like F-Rowless full sizes. Again, most of the time you get an F-Rowless stuff, it's going to be like mostly like 1800%, but there's no like proper full size. So this is also kind of meeting a form factor that hasn't really been around to my knowledge. So, which is going to be really cool. So, yeah, it's a cool one. So Portal, definitely for sure. So it's a really cool project, and I'm just genuinely excited for this project. So again, I'm sorry, folks, we got to do lube stabilizers. This is the least exciting part of stream, but it is definitely a necessary one. I'm very anal on my stabilizers, and I want my stabs to sound nice, especially if we're going to showcase how we want to see how this board actually sounds. Which is really cool. So that's going to be a really cool one, folks. So that's going to be really nice in terms of how we do it, folks. So that's going to be really nice in terms of what we want to do. So yeah, chat, welcome, go for it. So it's a good time, everybody. So we're definitely showcasing this build. And again, like I said, a huge shout out to the Bloody Eyes and the folks at ClickClack for this opportunity. I'm really just excited to help promote this project that I've been very passionate about. And again, how we can kind of promote this keyboard. So again, just as well, we're kind of doing stabs. This board is going to be running from September 25th to October 15th on group buy through a wide variety of vendors. I'm based here in the United States, so the vendor that'll be serving me is going to be ClickClack, and this board is going to be starting at $355, which is going to be awesome. So really, really cool board, and of course, it also does support Cherry MX, it supports Alps, and it also will support Topre, which is really kind of cool. So that's a really kind of awesome opportunity that this board has so much kind of options for us as users to kind of customize and tailor this board to be exactly what we want it to be. And I think that's kind of the best, that's kind of the thing we really just want within our custom keyboards, folks, is to have all that customizability and different options. So it's been pretty good, everybody. So we're overall having a good day. And again, the opportunity to really look at this board on a sponsored stream is really cool. So that's going to be a really good time. So we're just getting it going and we're having a good time, everybody. So yeah, stabilizers, it is not the most amazing part of this build, but it's a really important one because also we don't want rattly stabilizers. We want our stabilizers to sound freaking nice and awesome. So that's pretty good. So we got that stab in, and then we're going to get this side in, and we'll get it going, friends. So it's going to be a good time. So we definitely have a fun time, everybody. Awesome. So it's going to be pretty good, everybody. Pretty good. So there we go. Awesome. So fantastic, everyone. So it's pretty cool. So that's going to be pretty good. And then we're also, again, we got like we got 6 more stabilizers to do, everybody. So we got a decent number of things we got to do on this one, but we're gonna have this is gonna be a little bit of a longer stream, friends. We are gonna have a ton of different options for this board, and we're gonna be building it probably 2 or 3 times here on stream. Again, we can do that because we're not doing any solder, which is really nice. So normally when I do solder boards, I just build it once because desoldering is kind of a hassle, and I really don't want to do that on stream because it's just a lot of work, everybody. So that's just what we're going to be doing. So it's going to be good. So just lubing these stabilizers, everybody, is not the most glorious part of it. But once we get these stabilizers lube, we'll get to the really kind of fun part of stream, and actually in terms of building the actual board and getting the character and the design of the board really coming. So that's going to be really sick. So really good, everybody. So yeah, we got a nice amount of people on here. So again, those of you who are tuning in, thank you so much. It's a fun time. And again, we are showcasing the ETAR87 by the Bloody Eyes, and it's one of the vendors who will be facilitating this group buy, of course, is going to be ClickClack, which is going to be awesome. So it's going to be a really good time, and it's really nice to be able to participate as a member of a community and a hobby I really enjoy. It's been pretty good. So that's been pretty good, everybody. So yeah, chat, go wild, please. Have a fun time, everybody. So it is a good time, everyone. So there we go. And again, folks, if you're not able to catch this live on Twitch, the VOD will be on the YouTube will be on my YouTube channel later this evening once we get concluded here. So again, if you want to watch it back, or again, if you're not able to watch it live, you're interested in this board, definitely check that one out, folks. So that's going to be really good. So we're getting on stabilizer number 3, which will be good. Then we got like 5 more of these little buggers we got to do. So it's going to be a good time, everybody. So I like it. I like chat's having a fun time down there, so it's all good. So that's what we're here for on Twitch, everybody. So we're here to have fun. So, but yeah, if there's any type of questions on the particular board, folks, again, feel free to chime in, and we can definitely get those answered. We also have the Bloody Eyes here, the actual keyboard designer, which is pretty cool. So this is a really awesome project that's coming to market. Just making sure those stabilizers are good. So we got like 5 more of these little things we got to do. So it's going to be a good time, everybody. So getting those in. So let me Sorry, you just grab a rag really quick, just that dielectric grease kind of gets everywhere when you're doing it. There we go. So, really good, everybody. Really, really good. So, we're just getting it going, and we're getting this one going. So, it's nice seeing the chat having fun down there, but it's always a good time. So, but yeah, overall, this is a really cool board, and I'm really excited for this project. And I know my personal interest in this board is because it supports Alps. Again, for the purposes of the stream, we're not doing an Alps build tonight. We're still waiting on the plates being manufactured by Tom over at Hype Keyboards up in Canada. So once Tom, if we can get the plates, if the plates get delivered to me before the end of the group buy, we definitely can figure out a build stream to do to kind of showcase the Alps. But I'm being realistic. Most likely we're going to get the Alps plates when the actual group buy is probably over. Tom is waiting on a particular. The plate is so big, he's waiting on the actual plate to the material to make that aluminum plate to come in. So we're just kind of waiting on Tom to get that material in. So we really don't know when it's going to come in at the moment. So hopefully it comes in soon, because it'd be nice to do an Alps build stream for this board while the group buy is ongoing. So, I mean, we got about a month, so hopefully Tom can get those into us. And then we can do a proper Alps stream and really kind of showcase the craziness of this particular board, because the way I want to build this with Alps is going to be kind of insane, and it's going to be really, really cool. So, but nothing too crazy. So, like, I'm really excited for that, and it'll be really cool. And then there are some other creators too. I think we're going to be looking at Bloody Eyes. You can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Black Simon's also going to be looking at this board. I don't know if, I think that's what, I saw his group buy review and he said he might be getting a unit. He doesn't know. So, but that's also Black Simon. So he's like my favorite angry keyboard man on the internet. So, so just JK Black Simon, freaking love you, dude. You're awesome. So you give me a very angry take on keyboards and I love it. So, it's really cool. Love what you do for the community, my man. But yeah, it's a really cool thing. So, and also too, I had the opportunity to go to KeyBlife a couple of weeks ago, which is really cool. So I had the opportunity to kind of showcase Alps builds at KeyBlife, and it was really kind of cool, exposing people who mostly only ever see Cherry MX builds to being able to see kind of the cool factor that is Alps, which is really, really awesome. So definitely had a lot of fun, everybody. So it was a really, really cool time, everybody. So we're just lubing these stabs again, like the chat's having fun down there. So that's why we do it on Twitch, everybody. So it's nice having that live interaction with everybody. So definitely a good time, everybody. So, all right, cool. Creepy, everybody. But yeah, it's all good, everybody. Hey, I try. So thank my barber, everybody. So it's all good. But we're definitely going to have a good time on here, everybody. So we got stab number 4. So we got like 4 more of these things, everybody. So it is kind of the long and arduous process of the particular thing, everybody. So it's a fun time. So we got those in. So we're definitely having a fun time as we kind of go through it, everybody. Another thing, too, about this particular board, too, I'll kind of showcase, once we're done with the stabs, I'll kind of compare the size of this board to some of the other full sizes I have on hand. I have a couple retro full sizes here, and I also have some of my custom full sizes that I've got over the last year. One thing I do want to just kind of clear on this, and kind of a point I want to make is, again, this board is going to be retailing for for $355. One thing about that, for some people that may sound like a lot, and again, that is a lot, but you want to compare it to the other full sizes that have kind of come to market over the past year or so. I mean, one group buy that just ended was the people over at Carolina MechWorks ran their board that was called the Fossil. And that was a actual proper full size, and that board was over $600. So to kind of put into perspective, the fact that the Bloody Eyes is again targeting sub $400 on this board is really, really awesome. And that's also an important thing to note is the original price of this board was going to be around $400 to $450, depending on how many units actually sold. So that's an important thing to note in terms of price point on this board. So the fact that we actually ended up with a lower price point than we thought we were going to get is really awesome for this particular thing. What's up, Welvin? It's a good time, everybody. My chat's having a lot of fun today, so I'm really happy about that. But anyone who's kind of jumping on, again, definitely welcome. You're welcome to kind of ask any questions about the keyboard and whatnot. Well, again, we have the Bloody Eyes here, the designer of the keyboard on, which is really cool. So the Bloody Eyes, again, I just want to, just thank you for this opportunity and letting me take a look at one of your awesome prototypes. This is a really, really cool project, and it's really, really cool. So yeah, Welvin, definitely thanks, man. Welvin, I mean, this is a cool project. Welvin, for the purposes of tonight's stream, we're only really building it we're going to be building primarily with Cherry MX. So we're going to be doing 2 Cherry MX builds. We're going to be building first with long pole Gateron Grayish, and then I also have Cherry MX Nixies that we're going to build it with. So give it kind of those 2 very different switches that have different sound profiles. So that'll give us a nice kind of just kind of sample and sound bite of what this board actually sounds like. So that's going to be really cool. And again, Welvin, I mean, honestly, Welvin, I would recommend joining this project. It's $355. I mean, you want to compare, I mean, I'll to really put this board into perspective. This board right here, the DNWorks 925, this ran late last year. This is north of $600. Like, you have the Linworks Dolphin Max, another custom full size that within the last year. Again, north of $600, very expensive. And then I have my Unicorn full size right here. Like, good luck finding this keyboard. You have the Matrix Labs 100 NG. Like, good luck finding one of these. The MSRP was like $750 on this thinking thing. So like, all of these full sizes that have come to market are very, very expensive. So the fact that like he's selling his full size at below what these 3 full sizes I just showed you guys are is pretty impressive. So I just tell people, like, this is a very good value for what for the actual board you're getting. So that's something that is pretty cool. So yeah, so I mean, good music, everybody. Again, all big metalhead, everybody. So I mean, music is always good. I mean, I do have a metal music themed keyboard coming up. Like, I just gotta wait for the parts to come in. So that's gonna be a super sick one when we get that one in. We're just waiting for fulfillment on that one, which is going to be pretty sick. But for the purpose of this board, I think it's a really good value. And again, I can also I have a couple of retro full sizes I can definitely pull out too, just to kind of give a comparison in terms of the size of like an original retro full size compared to this particular board. So we have about 3 stabilizers left, everybody. So that's going to be pretty cool. So there we go. Got those. So working our way along these stabs, folks. So got a pretty decent complement of stabs here, so that's gonna be super sick. So yeah, but this is a really cool price. Yeah, so it's a really good price for what this board is offering. I think that's really cool, and also it supports like the 3 main switch types. You get Alps support, you get Cherry MX, you get Topre support. Now I believe that, to my knowledge, I think the Topre kit's gonna come a little later, like after the group buy. But like the board as it is sells for $355. Supports Cherry MX and it supports Alps, and I think that's awesome. So and again, I'm an Alps guy, so like again I got 2 Alps boards right behind me. So we are for sure going to be doing an Alps build in this particular keyboard. I can't do the build tonight on stream because Alps take their own mounting plate, and I don't have the mounting plates in hand yet. We have the files. Carolus over at Carolingian.com is the one who designed the Alps plate file for this particular keyboard. I sent the plate files over to Tom over at Hype Keyboards. Tom, shout out to Tom at Hype Keyboards. He's my go-to plate guy for keyboards. So he's a really cool, really kind of cool design guy, and he's the only guy I trust to make my keyboard plates. So he made all my Alps plates. So Tom is just currently waiting on the stock of aluminum to make plates this big, because this is a full size. That's a really big plate. So he's waiting on that actual stock to come in so he can get that plate cut and then shipped to me. So I'm getting 2 Alps plates for this particular board from Tom. And I have a few other plates for some other keyboard projects too that Tom's making for me as well. So I have a two plates for a client build, and I have a Topre project I'm working on, which will be really sick that Tom made the plate for. So I have a bunch of stuff that Tom I'm waiting on Tom to send over to me. But I also trust Tom. Tom is a master of what he does. And again, he's definitely gonna, the weight's always worth it for Tom, which is really cool. Like Tom, just over in Canada, is just a good dude. So he's the only person I trust to cut my plates. So Tom is definitely a sponsor and a friend of the channel. So he is, again, a really good guy, and yeah, who knows, I probably will be doing an Alps build for him in the future, which would be super sick. So there we go, everybody. So we got that side going. But yeah, this is a super sick keyboard, everybody. So we're going to have a lot of fun with it, but there we go. So just we have 2 more stabilizers, everybody, and then we can get to the fun part of the keyboard build. So I know, it's the only downside of when you do a full size is you got to do like a full complement of stabilizers. So So to my knowledge, I don't know of any other FRL full sizes. To be completely honest, so like if they are, they were probably older like keyboards that probably ran before like COVID. I personally don't know. I have 4 of the full sizes that have run within the past year. And again, we've been having a lot of really great full sizes come to market that are custom, that aren't like from big box manufacturers like Keycrown or QWERTY Keys. So that's something that's really nice you're getting, because the Fossil from Carolina MechWorks just ended their group buy. I do want a Fossil, but I'm tied up in other group buys right now and committed to other group buys. And the Fossil is a very expensive board. It's like around 600. I mean, after shipping and tax and everything else, you're probably looking $700-800 for the Fossil. So it's not a cheap keyboard. So like I definitely will pick up a Fossil eventually. They pop up a mech market from time to time, and Carolina MechWorks always does additional runs and has extras of them. So I'm not in a rush to get that board. And plus they make them here in the United States, so it's not like they're going away. So like I'm not in a rush to get that board. So, but yeah, I will eventually get a Fossil, because another thing about the Fossil, it supports Alps, which is super sick, which is part of why I would want one. So, and Carolus also makes a plate for it, which is like super sick. So, but yeah, it's gonna be a really fun time. We're getting those going, everybody. But yeah, it's definitely a fun time seeing that. So, but yeah, definitely love it. So, but yeah, we're almost there, folks. We got like 2 more stabs we got to do, and then we can get to the fun part of actually assembling this board and putting switches and then putting the keycaps on. That's gonna be this like super sick part. So. Yeah, so we're getting there, folks, but this is like kind of like the long part of the build. That kind of sucks, but once we get the stabilizers done, like putting the build together and swapping everything and doing different keycaps and different switch types will be pretty quick. So, and that'll really kind of allow us to get a really good idea of what we can kind of expect out of this board. So that's going to be really kind of cool. And again, like I said, I also have some other full sizes that are retro that we can kind of compare this board to and compare it to other kind of full sizes I have on hand. Just to give you an idea about like size, how much space, how much smaller this is than compared to a normal full size with an F-Row. So that's gonna be super sick. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. So, all right, let's just get this one. Dropping my pieces like Linus, I swear. LTTstore.com, everybody. So there we go. So last of the 2U stabs, which is really nice. Yeah, it's a little too much lube. I don't want too much, because then it'll be mushy. There we go. So good times, everybody. Good times. All right. So actually, I've done a Miko keyboard. Keyboard. Fun fact, everybody. I did a Miko keyboard for a commission build for a friend last year. So yeah, I did a Hatsino Miko keyboard, and it was super sick. So that was definitely a fun keyboards. So yeah, so that's like really fun, everybody. So we'll get that one going. So we'll get them going. So yeah, Miko. I've done a ton of like themed keyboards, like. I mean, I did the Half-Life keyboard the other night on stream. We have a Pulp Fiction keyboard. I have a Breaking Bad keyboard. I have a Mickey Mouse Disneyland keyboard, which is pretty cool. So a lot of fun ones. I'm not really into Image Comics, which is super sick. So it's really fun, everybody. So, oh yeah, dude, I grew up on Hatsune Miku, friends. It's all good. So good times. There we go. Just want to make sure I got those right. And put them right there. Just give me a second. I'll make sure I got these in the right side. Yep, we're good. Cool. Almost there. We get to do the almighty space bar, everybody. So that's going to be super awesome, everybody. So, but yeah, those of you who are on here, dude, folks, this is the last of our stabilizers. Then we'll mount these stabilizers on the PCB. And then we'll put the bottom mount inside the actual keyboard, because the bottom mount is kind of the interesting mounting style I want to kind of feature on this board, because that's like kind of the style that's really kind of unique to this particular board. Also, I have a SpongeBob build too, which is like equally as hilarious. Like when I take the SpongeBob build out to like keyboard mates, it is a instant fan favorite. Like everyone wants to take pictures with it. Everyone wants to pick it up. I had a guy offer to buy it off me. I'm like, no, dude. Also, when I tell you how much the SpongeBob build costs, you're gonna have a heart attack. So it's like, so yeah, definitely like that SpongeBob build. That's like a never selling board, which is pretty interesting. So, but yes, we do have the SpongeBob build. It's amazing. So, so yeah, and that one's cool too, because it has like the SpongeBob like mocking you gif on it. So like. I took it to the keyboard show I went to a couple of weeks ago at Keyb Life, and it was genuine. And everyone loved the keyboard, but everyone just started laughing when they saw the GIF on it. So yeah, definitely that is definitely one of my meme boards. And again, we also have GMK Greg here, which we're definitely gonna put Greg on this thing. So we're gonna do Ruber Hose and then Greg. because Greg is the bestest boy. So, and you guys will kind of see why it's Greg. So, Greg is the Doge meme, which is amazing. So that was the name of the dog in the Doge meme. So we're definitely going to put Greg on this because it's Greg's face. And we have to see Greg's derpy face on this particular keyboard. So there we go. So awesome. We'll just get that spacebar wire lubed up. But yeah, we have some definitely. So we're going to do Ruber Hose because the Bloody Eyes wanted to see Ruber Hose on it. And then we're going to put Greg on it. So I think that, and then again, we'll put a bunch of other keycaps on it later off stream. But I think that's what we're going to do in terms of keycaps for tonight. We're going to do Ruber Hose and get weird with that set because that is a funky and kind of crazy keycap set. And then we're definitely doing Greg. So, oh, dude, I have a metric crapload of GMK sets on hand. Like, I have like 40 GMK sets on hand, most of them being like some of the most iconic GMK sets. So, like, I kind of put it out there on social media and like Instagram and Discord, like, hey, like, what keycap set should we use for the sponsored stream? So I kind of took some ideas, and like, Greg was definitely a popular one. Because because the thing with Greg too, the base Greg set doesn't come with the doesn't come with like a lot of the novelties and like the keycaps that are funny. So you definitely need to get like the extra add-on sets for Greg to make Greg like truly hilarious. So I haven't actually put Greg on a keyboard in a while because it needs to go on the right keyboard in my opinion because it's Greg. Like it's like one of the best keyboard sets ever. I love Greg. So that's like definitely one of my favorites. So I'm gonna move these other keycap sets out of the way really quick. So we're just doing Ruber Hose tonight. So I'm gonna move Blue Alerts and then ZX, and then also white on black out of the way. So there we go. So let's get the PCB and we'll start mounting these stabilizers. And let me get my screws out for the stabs. So those are gonna be our screws and our washers. We are 1.6, so we don't need our shims for this, which is gonna be pretty good. So it's gonna be a fun time, everybody. So let's put these stabs in. So we're going again. This is a 7U build. So we're gonna put our 7U wire in there. Yeah, we got a full complement of stabilizers on this particular board. So we're not doing any split keys like the split right shift or split left shift. Again, we're going full stabilizer complement on this particular board. So again, these are Type Plus stabilizers. They're one of my personal favorite stabilizers to use. So these will give us a nice, really kind of rich sound for our particular stabilized keycaps. So we have 8 stabilizers. So we got a full set, which is going to be awesome. So, all right, there's that one. Let's clip them in, and then we just got to get the screws in here, and then we'll be done with the parts of this build that is very tedious and just kind of sucks. So that's going to be the good part. So there we go. All right, come on in there. Cool. And there we go. Cool. All right, cool. All right, let's put that to this side really quick. Let's put my little thing. We will be doing a little bit more of lubes. Oh, dude, Welvin, I'm glad you got a spider. Like, that's a project I wish I would have joined when it ran like a year ago. I mean, I don't care for a spider now because like I have so many freaking TKLs at this point. Like, I don't need more TKLs. But I'm very happy you got that project. Like, that's such a cool project. And I'm glad, like, they're finally, like, fulfilling the board, which is pretty sick. So that's going to be a super, super awesome build. So, like, definitely one I would have supported a year ago. I just didn't do it. And I kind of wish I did, but that's a super sick build. I mean, who knows? Maybe if I see one on Mech Market in a few months for, like, a good deal, I'll definitely pick it up. But for right now, I think we're good. I think I'm good on TKLs. So I'm just putting the washers in these particular screws. So we don't want the metal of the screws to be on the PCB. So we just want to, I have these little plastic washers I got to put on. So there's 16 of these stabilizer screws we got to do. So, all right. Okay, recommendations. So honestly, I'll tell you. So like for mechanical keyboards, look into like anything from like QWERTY keys, like entry-level boards. QWERTY keys, Keychron are like 2 really good entry-level ones. Like QWERTY keys has like amazing price value stuff. I think other recommendations, I'm trying to think of other brands, like the Bauer Light from Omnitype is another really kind of great board, which is really cool. I mean, crud, I don't, but yeah, like honestly, like anything like the Bauer Light anything from QWERTY keys and pretty much anything from Keychron like would be like my go-to recommendations. Like again, I'm mostly for my keyboard stuff. I deal in like the higher end stuff, like the super boutique, like really expensive stuff. That's just kind of where I've always kind of been in the keyboard hobby. So like again, they have some behind me. I have some very expensive keyboards. I mean, those two behind me on the wall right there, like those are restoration boards from like the 80s. And those, I mean, they're not, I'd say like as valuable, but like they're cool because like they're old and I restored them and they work after like 40 years. Like those two keyboards behind me are older than me by a long shot. So they got like a good 10 years on me. Yeah, dude, like QWERTY keys is awesome. I mean, I think with QWERTY keys, like I think what they're doing within the hobby, I think is amazing. Like they're bringing the quality and feel of high-end custom keyboards to a much more affordable price, which makes it more accessible to more people. Like a lot of QWERTY keys boards can be found for like sub $100 or like sub $150, which is great. And that makes their boards widely available to so many more people. Because I mean, as much as I love the boutique high-end stuff in the keyboard hobby, the vast majority of people who either are in the mechanical keyboard hobby or the people who want a mechanical keyboard aren't looking to spend more than like $150, $200, probably even less. So that's like the reality of it. So we want to make I'm of an opinion this hobby is for everybody, and I think everyone should have like a custom mechanical keyboard. Whether you go something more like budget friendly or you want to go something super high end, like it's at the end of the day, it's your keyboard, it's your tool, and you want to make that keyboard like work for you at the end of the day. And I think that's one thing that's like really kind of cool. In terms of giving people the opportunity. I think that's like work. I mean, Keychron's really cool. I think they make some good stuff. But like, if you want something that's a little bit of a step above Keychron, I think QWERTY keys, particularly their Neo lineup of keyboards, like QWERTY keys has a bunch of different lineups of keyboards. One of their lineups, which is a little more budget, is called their Neo line, and those boards are absolutely fantastic. I built a couple of them for like friends and family, and they love them. Like my sister's partner wanted a keyboard for their home office setup, and I figured out what they needed in terms of like size, form factor, and whatnot. They also wanted wireless support, so I built them a Neo 65. The build was like $100. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, and I think that's cool. I also tell people too, like especially because I go to Key Life and some of the keyboard shows. I had someone. I was like, I brought good in terms of dollar amounts. Keyboard. I was comfortably in the 4 figures. Probably pushing into the low 10 like the low 5 figures of keyboards I brought. But there was a guy I was talking to. He said, he showed me his Bauer Light and he was kind of ashamed of it. And I said, why? That's a great board. He said, well, it's a budget keyboard. I'm like, I don't care. It's your freaking keyboard, dude. At the end of the day, you're the one using it every day. You're the one, it sits on your desk at home. Like you game on it, you do work on it. Like it's your keyboard, be proud of it. Like just, you're not everyone like that's what I tell people. I'm not here to gatekeep. I want, like, if you come into the hobby and you have like a budget board you got off Amazon, like cool, that's a good starting point. But maybe you discover the love of the hobby and you get into something a little bit better later down the road. Like you wouldn't have gotten into the hobby otherwise if you didn't start with keyboards that were more affordable. So like, and I tell people too, like this is a hobby where you don't have to spend a lot of money to have a lot of fun in it. Like, I mean, one YouTube channel, I'll just give him a shout out. Some people kind of criticize him, but like the message of his keyboard channel is like really has a really positive message. Like there's a YouTuber called Hippio-Tech. Again, some people kind of criticize him, but like one thing that's cool about him, like the core message of his channel is you can have fun and experience mechanical keyboards for not a lot of money. And that's something that's really kind of cool. Now there is and again, that's coming from someone whose preference in this hobby is in the higher end stuff. Like I really don't deal with budget keyboards, but I'm also not going to prevent someone from getting into the hobby. Exactly. There's no such thing as a bad keyboard at the end of the day. Honestly, it's your keyboard. As long as you are having fun with it and you enjoy it, it's a tool at the end of the day. Yeah, we can make them look cool. But at the end of the day, it's a tool, and as long as it feels good to you, it sounds good to you, and you like how it looks in your office setup, it's all that matters at the end of the day. So that's why I just tell people, like, just have fun in this hobby. Like, some people take it too seriously and get too like, yeah, dude, like, and again, like, I will be completely honest. I am a guy who's on that higher end of the spectrum in terms of, like, what types of boards like people are kind of into. So that's just the kind of crazy thing with it. So I'm personally only really interested in the high end stuff, but like this hopefully is the first of many proper sponsored streams. So like if a company reached out to me and asked me to look at a budget board, like I would be open to it. I would really want more details on the project to make sure it like looks good and whatnot. But that's just something to kind of be aware of as well too. So like I'm not opposed to budget boards. It's just like, and if you look at like my collection or like look at my Instagram, like a lot of the boards that I personally own are going to be on that more boutique, more high end side of the bill, more high end side. But I'm not going to be snobby and be a jerk or a gatekeeper saying like, oh, your board, oh, you suck because you can't afford that. I'm like, no, hell no, dude. I'm here to have fun, man. I'm here to encourage people to get into this hobby. So, but yeah, we're getting into there. So we're just doing the stabs. Once we get into the stabs, we can start talking instead of like BSing. We can kind of start talking about like the fun part about it. All right. Epic, Epic, thanks for jumping in, my man. It's a good time. Again, the VOD will be on YouTube, so we're here to have a fun time. Again, the chat has been pretty entertaining tonight. So we're going to definitely be on here for a while, Epic. So if you want to jump on later, dude, like this will probably be like a 3-hour stream because we're going to build this board in a bunch of different configurations. So, all right. So we're again, this is just the kind of the quirk of doing full sizes, everybody. You have like 8 freaking stabilizers you got to do. Again, peace, sir. But yeah, Welvin, again, really appreciate you jumping on. Anyone else who's jumping on. And also, if you're watching the VOD, again, thank you for watching the VOD. Again, I really hope I can maybe convince you on why you should join this group buy and just kind of support this, a really interesting project from the Bloody Eyes and also the people over at ClickClack. Again, I also just do want to give a thank you to the people at ClickClack for like taking on this project and facilitating it. I think it's really cool of them because I know they don't take. I'm pretty sure ClickClack probably gets a lot of group buy requests from different designers or different people, and I know they just the reality of business. They can't accept every single project, so I just want to give a really big thank you to them for taking on this project, and being willing to facilitate this particular group buy. Because also running group buys is not an easy thing. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of logistics. And again, just a big thank you and big shout out to ClickClack for facilitating this. This is going to be, I'm really excited for this project. And also for transparency, this prototype was sent to me by the Bloody Eyes. He is the keyboard designer. I'm going to be able to hold on to this board for a little while, but this group buy, I am going to be joining and purchasing a keyboard with my own money. So that just for transparency too. So like eventually I will have to give this keyboard back. But again, I'll be able to hold on for a little while just so we can kind of showcase some more crazy things that you can do with this board, especially with Alps. But I will have to give this board back eventually, so which is going to be really cool. But again, also just a big thank you. So okay, 8-Bit Dough, they're cool. Like 8-Bit Dough, they're very accessible. I think 8-Bit, like as someone who likes retro boards, I think it's really cool what they're doing. Again, they're bringing some really cool, like kind of classic, nostalgic designs and bringing them at an affordable price. So, I mean, 8-Bit Doughs are cool, too, because they're in a lot of, like, your major vendors. Like, you can get them on Amazon. You can get them at Micro Center. You can get them at Best Buy. So, that's one thing that's cool about 8-Bit Dough, too, because they really were a video game controller company for a long time. But, again, 8-Bit Dough really kind of stepped into the very competitive market of mechanical keyboards. And I know a couple people who have gotten their boards and really enjoy them. And again, they're fun boards. They have a fun they have a fun design. They have a fun theme. Like 8-Bit Dough very much remind me of kind of like these. Like I have like this is my Macintosh board from 1986. Like they very much take influence from like these old school like retro keyboard. Like this is a Apple extended keyboard from 1986 that I restored, which is like super sick. So really sick board. So that's definitely where they kind of take their kind of influence and design. I also have this board. That's of a kind of a cool retro board. I got this in today. We're going to kind of harvest this board for parts. Another really kind of cool project that's just really kind of sick. So really awesome. So we got our stabilizers installed, everybody. So that's kind of the fun part. So we're going to put the PCB to the side because I want to focus on the bottom mount of this particular case. So in terms of video games, I'm mainly a single player action adventure game. So the game I'm really enjoying is Borderlands 4. Oh yeah, big ass enter, man. I mean, actually, one of the keycaps that we definitely can do a big ass enter on this board. So let me get my good stuff here. So let me get all these parts out of here and we'll kind of explain what makes this board really interesting and why it really kind of, in terms of what it's kind of designing. So let me get some parts out for the bottom mount and we'll kind of explain what we're trying to do with bottom mount. I think that's where this board really kind of shines in terms of something different that it's doing. So I'm just kind of putting these, I got to find the exact screws we need. And we're going to use our little mount thingies and we got to get a bunch of screws. Yeah, big ass enter, Welvin is the way to go. I love my big ass enters. So Let's dump out a bunch of these screws. We got to use a lot of those. So, all right, we got our screws and we got these little rubber thingies. So let me kind of explain. Let me kind of put one of these together. I'll kind of show y'all how the heck these things go together. So it's kind of interesting. So there's these different mounting points at the bottom of the board. And again, this is gonna be our mounting points for our bottom mount on this particular board. So we have these little kind of rubber. I don't even know how to describe these things, but they have like a little thing that sticks up, and that's what the holes in the piece on the plate are going to go into, giving us a little more of a bouncy feeling, and a little softer typing experience as opposed to the top mount, which is very, very stiff, very harsh. So let me just kind of put these little rubber thingies inside the plastic parts, so they kind of mount in there like that, and then we're actually going to screw them in to the bottom of the case. So we're going to do it like that. So we're going to do that. So let me grab my screwdriver bit and get the correct bit for this particular one. And then we're going to go through there. So we're going to... All right, cool. So I'm going to do the 88 purples. We're going to go with 75A. I'm going to go with a little bit of a softer experience, Bloody Eyes. So thanks, my man. That's going to be super sick. So yeah. So yeah, we're going to do this. I'll be completely honest, for me, and most of the time, I personally prefer a good top mount. I like a stiffer, firmer typing experience, but I'm really curious to try out this bottom mount solution that Bloody Eyes does. So this is I think a part of the keyboard design that's really interesting and really unique in terms of the board. So we can kind of see how it mounts in there. So I'll kind of turn the keyboard right there. So we have, as you can see, a little rubber thing kind of sticks out, and there are holes in the plate that are gonna go through that particular little thingy right there. So that's kind of cool. So I don't know, the Bloody Eyes, what do you call these? Like, what do you call these rubber things? Are they like tadpoles? Like, do you have like an actual name for these little things? I don't know I really don't know what to call them, to be completely honest. So yeah, you could definitely let me know what to call them. That'd be really cool. So all right, so we're doing those. Oh, bottom buttons. Okay, so these are bottom button thingies. Okay, cool. Cool. I'm glad we have like an official name for these things, because I really didn't, like, as I was just kind of learning about the board last night, like I was tinkering around the board last night just to figure out like, hey, how do I put this thing together? Definitely was like thinking, I'm like, what do I call these things? Like, do they have an official name or something? So there we go, friends. So we got another one. So yeah, we're just going to put this bottom mount in because that's what I want to kind of focus on for our builds. We will do a couple builds with top mount, but for the purposes, for our first couple of builds, we're going to focus on the bottom mount because I think that's what I really want to kind of showcase, because everyone's heard a good top mount. Like, a top mount is a top mount, especially with aluminum. But I want to showcase the mounting style on this board that I think is unique and just kind of interesting. With this particular design. Like, this is the part I think of the board that I think is really interesting. Other than the fact of its layout, like, this is just such an interesting mounting solution. Because bottom mount is another kind of one of those OG mounting styles. So we're just kind of going through there, getting that one going. So, all right. So it's definitely a good time, everybody. So we're going through. So we definitely have that to promote. But yeah, the Bloody Eyes, also, man, thanks for being on stream, man, and joining us, being able to, like, clarify anything or answer any questions. I mean, if you hadn't been on the stream, I wouldn't have known what to call these little rubber things, so it's glad they have, like, an actual name. So bottom buttons is what we call these little rubber thingies for the bottom mount, so that's pretty cool. All right, so got our bottom buttons, everybody, so look at that, doing that. Look at that, everybody, so good times. There we go. All right. Got that one. And then we got that one. So we got a few more we got to put on the top, everybody. So we got to put 5 more on the top. And then we're going to see how that goes. So yeah, we're definitely going with the softer ones. I want to go with a little bit of a softer typing experience because we're going to get that firmness with the... Hold up, we're on stream right now. Oh,
are you streaming?
Yeah. So, yeah, sorry, I had a question. So, yeah, so we're getting it going. So, it's a good time, everybody. So, really good. So, All right, just had a quick question off camera, but we're getting these ones in. So this is going to be really cool. So I really think this is an interesting bottom mount. So it's going to be a really interesting solution. I mean, Bloody Eyes, I don't know if you can maybe just kind of give like a little summary. Like, where did this kind of bottom mount idea come from? I'm just kind of curious. I mean, if you maybe want to just, if you're interested in kind of telling us, because like this is just a really interesting solution, seeing a bottom mount come through, which I really like. So I'm just really curious to kind of see like, hey, what was like the methodology? Like, where did you kind of get this idea for this kind of solution? Because I know top mount's top mount, like top mount's the OG. But I mean, if you can, my man, it'd be really kind of cool just kind of hear your like thought process and like where the heck this mounting idea came from. Because I think this is just a really interesting solution for this particular board. All right, just making sure we get that alignment. So, pretty good. All right, got that one in. All right, let's get this one going. All right, let's get it going. Just got like 3 more of these, and then we can kind of, I'll put the plate on it, and you can kind of see how the bottom button mount works. I think this is a really cool kind of design idea. Definitely haven't seen a bottom mount incorporated like this. So, all right. Perfect. We got a couple more. Just putting these little bottom button things in, and then we got 2 more we got to put in here, and then we'll be good. All right, got a couple more, folks, but it's going good. So we're having a lot of fun with this stream, everybody. So again, chat's been really fun, been really animated. Now, someone asked what kind of video games I'm into. I mean, realistically, I love single-player action adventure games. So like Borderlands 4 is the game I've really been. Oh, cool. Thanks, man. So again, the Bloody Ice says originally the design was based on Keycaps bottom mount. One of the bottom mount issues was the stiffness of the mounting config. Okay, cool. I'm really excited to try this mounting style because I think it's going to be really cool to kind of give us a different option other than the traditional top mount. And I think it'll be kind of nice to have something that's a little bit of a softer typing feel. So I think that's gonna appeal to a lot of people who want something a little bit softer. I know some people like that bouncier top field. Oh, top mount was introduced later, so this is the original mounting style. Cool. All right, honestly, I'm gonna see, like, Bloody Eyes, do you want me to showcase top mount, or you just want me do you want me to just do the 2 builds I do tonight? Do you want me to just do it with different switches and just have bottom mount? Like, do you want to, or because I do want to do like the Alps as top mount, because like top mount's like the preferred top mounting style for Alps. But like, do you want me to just do both of these builds? I'll just do both if possible. Okay, cool, dude. We can absolutely do both. Then we can give people. I mean, it's not hard to switch the keyboard over for both. I'm just trying to get this last bottom button in here. Why are you not going in there? Give me a second. Why are you not going in there? There we go. Cool. All right, cool. We're going to do both, my man. We're definitely going to do both. I mean, I got all the time in the world for this stream, and if this is a long VOD stream, cool. Again, the purpose of this stream is to showcase what this board can do for Cherry MX. So we're definitely going to showcase both styles. All right, cool. So we got our bottom mount installed. Let me put all these parts away just to kind of keep track of everything. And then we're going to kind of play around with the plate and kind of showcase how this bottom mount works. So let me just get these parts put away. Oh, we got to mount our daughter board. Give me a second. Let me put these parts away. So we'll get that daughter board mounted in a second. Just give me a second. Oh, those are going to go over here. All right. Yeah, so it's a good time, everybody. So let me get these little bottom buttons put away. Yeah, I got you, the Bloody Eyes. We're going to do both configurations. So we'll start off with Gateron Grayish, and we'll start off with Ruberhose. And then we'll do Greg with the Nixies, which will be cool. So, but this is kind of the tedious and long part as we get going. So, Okay, let's get the daughter board mounted. We'll showcase the daughter board and what that looks like. Okay. Here we go. We got our daughter board right here. Let's get that out. Perfect. All right. I'm going to put all these other parts away because we're kind of done with those for the moment. So let me just put these away. We'll get all that put away. Perfect. Put that off to the side. So here's our daughter board, folks. So we're just using a standard unified daughter board, which is really nice. So, and a JST connector. So we'll get that mounted, and then it'll be really good. And then we'll basically be ready to start doing our PCB assembly and do switches and keycaps and kind of do kind of the fun part of the build. So that's going to be really nice. So we'll put our daughter board in there, get her mounted, and we'll kind of see this. So there we go. Awesome. So getting that one in. Cool. All right, we got our daughter board mounted. So I'm going to get the plate really quick. So here's our plate. And I'm just going to kind of show you how this bottom mount works. So we just got to line up these holes on the plate with these little bottom button doohickeys. And there we go. So it's basically going to rest on those little things. And that's going to give us our bottom mount, which is going to be really cool. So I'm really excited, Bloody guys, to kind of really try out this mounting style. So we're going to put the bottom case over to the side, and we're going to focus on doing our actual switch in assembly. So, all right, so let me put my plate on, and we'll start getting stuff installed here. So we're going with Gateron Grayish. So as you may be tuning later, the switches we're going to do for our first iteration of this build is going to be Gateron Grayish. So this is This is a long pole tactile stem from Gateron. They're one of my favorite switch manufacturers within the custom mechanical keyboard space. So I'm really excited to be able to build with some of their switches. So I have a lot of my Cherry MX builds do utilize Gateron switches, which are really nice. So we're just going to do the corners. My methodology when installing hot switches on a Hotswap is do the corners. That just kind of lines everything up, and that makes the rest of the switches installation so much easier. So these switches sound so good. Like, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Gateron Grayish, but these are like part of Gateron's called Everfree lineup. It's more their budget line of keyboard switches, but they're awesome. These are such a really nice switch. And for the price, they're about 25 cents a switch. And they're for the money and the sound and feel you get out of them, they're fantastic. So I have a metric truckload of these. I have these actually in my W1AT from GeonWorks, which is super cool. So I'm going to get these switches installed. Awesome. All right, so we have those. Let's do these other ones. All right, we're getting them going, everybody. All right. Looking good, everybody. All right, so let's put our number pad stuff in. Get these on the side. Let's go to the side. There we go. So yeah, so we're just installing these switches. So these are going to be good. So this is called the ETAR87. So it takes 87 total switches, which is really nice. So that's really cool. So we're going to do our arrow cluster here really quick. And then we'll kind of see how everything kind of fits in there, which is going to be super, super cool. All right, so we got our arrow cluster. Let's fill in our home or navigation cluster here. And then we'll fill in the rest of the numpad, and then we'll do our main number and alpha cluster. So this is going to be really, really cool. Now the build's now we have a lot more time. We did the tedious part of everything. So we have our bottom mount in there and whatnot. So that's pretty good. Awesome. We got our home cluster there, which is pretty sweet. And now we'll do the rest of our numpad, which is going to be really, really awesome. So there we go. Awesome. Oh, there we go. Let's make sure all those switches are lined up. All right. Looking good. Getting all these awesome switches installed. Perfect. All right. Perfect. There we go. And we got that one. Perfect. And we got that one. So cool. We're starting to fill in everybody. Look at that. So we got our numpad. We got our arrows. Oh, those are so good. Like those have more. Those are way better than they have any right to be, which is pretty good. So really good. So now we'll do our number row, get those filled in, and then we'll fill in our alpha cluster. And then we'll start putting some keycaps on from Ruber Hose. So, and then Bloody Eyes, I do want to see how we're going to put Ruber Hose on here. Like, Bloody Eyes, Ruber Hose is just kind of that basic beige and gray. Like, do you want the color accents? Like, they have an alert blue row that we could put at the top. Like, do you want the crazy color accents on this particular board? Or do you just want to have, like, for the purpose of having Ruber Hose, do you want to have just, like, the basic, like, beige and gray? Because we can definitely get weird with Ruber Hose. Definitely a weird set. So, just kind of let me know what you want to do in terms of Ruber Hose, because I have all the color accents for that particular set, and that set just kind of gets insane, which is awesome. So, oh sweet, all right, cool, thanks my man. I mean, anyone in chat, do you want us to add a bunch of? Do you want it to be like basic gray? These keycaps is basically gray. I mean, once we get the keycaps, I can kind of show you the color accents, but this set is like absolutely insane. I mean, that's part of the fun of this set. So. They've done some boards that are really kind of themed around that one, so it should be pretty good. Thanks, Bloody Eyes. So we're gonna have some. I think we're gonna go I think we'll do crazy colors just to kind of make the build fun. Like because the Bloody Eyes, I will tell you, my man, we're doing Greg and Ruber Hose for stream tonight. But I really want to over the next few days, I'm gonna take a bunch of different photos of this board with different keycap sets to kind of showcase like what. And I'm glad you sent the silver, because the silver will pretty much go with any keycap set. So I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna take a bunch of pictures of this board with different GMK, some of the more iconic GMK keycap sets, just to give people an idea of what they can expect from this board. Just to give them a really nice idea of what this board looks like with some of the more iconic GMK sets. So, but we'll for sure tonight we'll do Greg and Ruber Hose, just to give it a nice kind of fun factor for this board. So, perfect. So we got a couple more rows, but this is also just refreshing because most of the time when I'm on stream we're soldering, and I love soldering boards in, but it's also very tedious, which is kind of fun. So it's kind of sometimes it is refreshing going back to Hotswap because it's just so quick and so easy, and not the involved process that soldering is. So there we go, friends. There we go. So pretty cool. So we got a nice crowd of people watching tonight. So really good. Thank you for everyone who's joining stream, everybody. And then a pretty fun time building this board. So again, this is the ETAR87, everybody. So okay. Yeah, Lightning already did that, so I think we're going to go absolutely crazy with Ruber Hose. So I think we're going to put all the crazy color accents on this board. Yeah, you have a good point, Welvin. Lightning did kind of a basic one, so I mean, Greg also, too, is going to be absolutely hilarious when we put it on this board. So I can't wait for y'all to see Greg, because we're going to get the bestest boy on this keyboard, which is going to be great. So, all right. Perfect. So we have final couple of switches, and I'll kind of explain these ones right here. Kind of explain to you my weird solution for those two switches. And here we go. We got two right here. Perfect. And oh yeah, we're gonna put some crazy color. We're gonna go insane on this board for its color. All right, so we're putting these ones. Now we have a full complement of switches right here, folks. This is just a quirk of getting prototypes. These switches don't line. The switch holes are actually pushed over to the wrong spot for the spacing for a 7U bottom row. So I had to modify these two just junk switches I had. I basically had to cut off the pins and the bottoms of them and file them down. So these two switches, when we plug the build in, they're going to sound different and look different. It's just these are more just for aesthetics, so we don't have two keycaps missing here. But that's just, again, the alignment of the holes on the particular PCB don't match up for a 7U bottom row. So and they're more for a 6.25U bottom row, which is kind of the quirk of the prototype PCB. So let me get everything mounted, and we'll put the case together, and then we'll put Ruber Hose on this thing. So let me get my JST connector in here. And let me see if we're putting that together right. Or is it that way? Yes, this way. Okay, cool. Let me get my JST. Perfect. And then let's line it up with these bottom buttons, as they are called. That's what I learned that these things are called. And there we go. Awesome. So, got the bottom buttons. Ooh, that's nice. That's really nice. Oh, man. All right, let's get the top case and let's screw this puppy together. And then let me just make sure everything lines up. Okay. Give me a minute. Just gotta line everything up. Is that correct? Give me a second, friends. Oh, derpy! I put a switch right there. It's 1 keyless. Oops. Derp. Yeah. Yeah, I have some tweezers. We'll adjust the pins. I think I put a key. There we go. Now we're gonna fit. And we just want to get that in there. Yeah, it is finicky. I won't say that, but once we get it in there, it should be good. It's just getting that alignment. And we got the top. Let me just make sure I got the bottom. Just give me a minute, friends. Alright, we got it. Yeah, we're good. We got it. We got it, everybody. Alright, let's get my bit. Let's get the bigger bit, and we'll close it up, and then we'll do our stuff. There we go, friends. Look at that. Look at that, everybody. So we'll put in our 10 bottom case screws. And then we'll put rubber hose on here, and we'll get a little crazy, and we can do our first sound test on stream, which is going to be super sick. So, all right. There we go. Cool. All right, let's get this one in. Let's do our 2 corners here. Cool. All right, so this is going pretty good, everybody. So we're starting off with our bottom button mount with an aluminum plate and Gateron grayish long pole tactile switches. So that's really nice. We'll kind of get an idea of what this is going to sound like. All right, let's get these last 4 screws in, and then we'll be able to kind of hear this puppy. Finally get to hear some sound in person of this particular board. So that's going to be really nice. All right. Sorry about that. All right, let's move my work pad here really quick. All right, folks, so there we go. Again, just kind of mind you this is just because it's the prototype PCB, but we're using... Ooh. Oh, man, that's going to sound nice. All right, cool. All right, let's start putting keycaps on this thing. I think we're going to do the alert row first. So I think we're going to put all of our crazy colors on. So, I mean, we're going to go absolutely insane on this board to just make it really fun. So... yeah, we're going to do an alert blue row, which is going to be super, super cool. So this is going to be fun. Oh man, we're going to go wild on this board today, everybody. We're going to make it really, really crazy. So that's going to be fun. This is going to be super fun. We got our backspace. Look at that. See how these stabs sound on this. Woo! Really good. All right. Gonna find a bunch of these, and then just making sure we get everything lined up. Ooh, there we go. So we're gonna put rubber hose on here first. So this is GMK rubber hose. This is a really cool GMK set. Really kind of weird, really kind of wacky. And that's part of why I love having this set on hand. I still haven't found a board in my personal collection this set permanently lives on. But until I find a board like that, it'll just kind of have, the set will just kind of be in my GMK library until I find the exact board I want to put it on. Oh, that's going to be so sweet. But yeah. Ooh, loving that. All right. So we're starting off with our alert row. I don't know if I want to do the tilde, but we'll see. But yeah. Let's find my home. Oh yeah, look at that, friends. That is hilarious. Let's go. Okay, we'll put be bad right there. We're gonna do a green. That's all, folks, because awesome. I need to look up GMK Ruberhouse. I want to see if there's any other kind of crazy stuff on here, because I always like seeing the diagram. This set's so massive. I do need to Ruberhouse, because this is a massive set. So let me get GMK Ruberhouse. Here we go. Okay, let me just get the diagram really quick. We're just on Bloodyezkb. Here we go. Okay, so we can go with some bottom row. We're going to go with some bottom row colors here, just to kind of make it more wacky, more kind of insane. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to find some other kind of crazy ones just to really have fun with this and just kind of make it more crazy, because like that's kind of the purpose of this set. Okay, I think there's one more. It should be a pink, 2 red, pink, and blue. Okay, perfect. So we're going to put these red ones on the inner side. And then we're going to do this right here. Is there any other crazy stuff we can do? These yellow ones. No, we're not using those. Let's see. We'll go... Is there any purple or pink? We're going to go pink up here. There we go. We're just going to make this thing absolutely crazy. All right. Those are all of our color accents, friends. We're going to go now do our just normal accents. So, cool. Let me just put the rest of my colors away. So, yeah, this is going to be crazy, everybody. I'm excited to see how just insane we go with this. There we go. All right. Let me put my color accents away. Cool. All right, now we'll get the main one out, and we'll go from there. So we'll get the main Ruberhouse set out. So there we go. I'll put that up kind of front and center so we can kind of see it. So it's F-Rowless. So let's put on the rest of our stuff. So we'll get our tab. We don't have a tab, unfortunately. But we're going crazy on this today, everybody. Look at this. We're just going to go. Oh, why am I doing the number row? I'm like, bro, it's late, everybody. Gotta start with my alphas. I already did my number row. I was like, why isn't that lining up? I'm like, oh, there you go. So there we go, friends. So we're gonna do our alpha cluster. Ooh, I like the bounciness. Bloody eyes, bounciness. That feels nice. So definitely give this thing a. Let's see how it sounds. Ooh, ooh, that sounds nice. I like that. All right. Getting all of our craziness. But yeah, Ruberhouse. Oh, heck yeah. It's going to look sick. Yeah, we're going to do some crazy colors on this thing, everybody. Let me put my shifts here to see how they sound. Perfect. All right, so let's put the rest of our A. Yeah, this is looking good. Oh, dude, this is a very long boy keyboard. Like, very long boy. So, very, very long boy. So, it's a good time. So, we're putting this main alpha cluster on here. So, and then we'll rebuild the board in a little bit with Nixie's and Greg. So, but I want to try out this one. So this is a long pole. So give me a second. All right, yeah, very, very big boy board for sure. All right, let's put our delete, our end, and our page down. We'll get our arrows. Okay, let's grab our other portion of the set. Let's get our 7U spacebar here. Perfect. Let's get the rest of our numpad squared away, and then we'll be good. Perfect. All right. Let's get that squared away. Hold up. Perfect. Awesome. We're getting there, folks. It's got the last of our number pad, and then we'll be able to do a little bit of a sound test on this particular board. And then just kind of get some looks at how it looks. Cool. All right, let me put Ruber hose off to the side. And here we go, everybody. Let me put my Ruber hose diagram away. But there we go, friends. So that is our first kind of iteration of the ETAR87. We're using Gateron grayish long pole switches. And we have GMK Ruber hose with all the crazy Ruber hose color accents. So that's just kind of crazy. It's fun, everybody. Look at that. And it's all kind of put it this way, but you can kind of see the bouncy typing. You can kind of see the bounciness. Oops. Oop, I got something stuck. Give me a second. But you can kind of, there's a little bit of a bounciness to this, which is pretty cool. We got this keycap stuck. Oops, let's fix that. There we go. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. All right, so let's see how this sounds, everybody. Ooh, that is nice. Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. Here's stabilized keys. Oh man, yeah, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, so this is a long pole stem, everybody. So you're getting that kind of distinct long pole sound profile. So pretty good, honestly. I really like that. That's a pretty nice feeling, really nice sound. So I want to switch it over to top mount really quick. So while we're on the long pole stem, so let me disassemble the case, and then we'll switch this from the bottom mount to top mount. So let's do that really quick. So let's unscrew everything. But that's a really cool one. I really like the sound of that that bottom mount. So like again, Bloody Eyes, props and shout out to that. That's really cool. I like how bouncy it is. Like it has a really nice bouncy type feeling, which I think is really nice. But let's definitely try top mount, and then once we kind of do top mount and get some sounds of that, we'll switch over. We'll tear everything down, and then we'll go over to the Nixies and also putting Greg on this thing, because I really want to see Greg. I think Greg's gonna be a fun time for this particular build. So let's get that one going. So yeah, let's get Greg. Greg for sure. So all right, let's get that one going. So I'll get that one. I hear all that aluminum. Look at that. There we go. All right, cool. Let's just grab this one really quick. All right, let's get that. Let's flip her around really quick. Let's take this top case off. There we go. And then let's pull this puppy out. Let's get that JST unplugged. So there's our assembly right there. So looking pretty good. I mean, we can look at the PCB assembly while it's disassembled. So pretty cool. So I'm like loving that. Look at that little sandwich of the switches and the PCB and plate, all that stuff. So that is pretty cool. I love that alert row on this thing. That just makes it look just kind of crazy. So definitely love that. Oh, it's super sick. So I think I got to take the bottom mount stuff off for top mount, I think. Yeah, I got to take the bottom mount off. So we got to remove all the bottom mount stuff. So when we rebuild it with Greg, we'll start off with top mount first, and we'll build it as bottom mount last. So let's take off at the bottom. Let's take off bottom mount. So we'll leave the little rubber thingies in, but really good. So actually, yeah, we can just leave these in. All right, cool. Awesome. Let's just get all these ones out of here, and then we'll do some top mount. Again, top mount's my personal favorite. But, yeah, we'll do a little bit of both. So, dude, do it, dude. I mean, group buy opens on GeekHack. So the group buy for this board is going to be on GeekHack from September 25th to October 15th. So, really cool board. I mean, if you're looking for a cool full size, I mean, for the price point, I don't think you can really beat this board. For $355 for the kit, the base kit, I think that's fantastic. You have Hotswap, you have solder. Now, funny thing is, this board does support Alps, so if you're interested in doing Alps, you're going to want a solder PCB. Alps will be solder only. And again, I will be doing an Alps build stream with this particular board and the solder PCB at a later date. We're waiting for... Yeah. So we are still on, so... Give me a second. A keyboard buddy messaged me. Cool. All right. Just wanted to message one of my key buddies. But yeah, good times, everybody. Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be a really good time. Like, this is a really good board. And I think the Bloody Eyes really knocked it out of the park with this one. So we're going to try top mount and see how these long pole stems sound with top mount. And then we'll go over with, then we'll tear down the internal assembly, and then we're going to do a build with the Cherry MX and Nixies, which will be really cool. And we'll put Greg on it, which is going to be sick. I cannot wait to see Greg on this particular keyboard, because honestly, Greg is goated. So, but yeah, we're gonna post. I think the main promotional photo I post tomorrow will probably have Greg or GM. I don't know. I'll probably talk with the Bloody Eyes and figure out which one I want to use for my promotional photos tomorrow. And then we'll be definitely posting a lot of photos online of this particular board with a bunch of different keycap sets. So we got our bottom mount removed. So now we're going to install our top mount. So we're going to put the top case to the side, and we're going to get our top mount screws installed. So I'll just make sure everything is lined up, and then we'll flip it over and we'll do top mount, which is my personal favorite mounting style. Hey, Bloody Eyes, will the plate that comes with like the production units be red, or will like the aluminum plate? Will the production aluminum plate be red, or will it be another color? One of the people in chat's asking. I mean, it'd be cool, so people can know, because red plates are pretty cool, but black or silver plates don't bother me either. But red plates are definitely a vibe. Okay. So, yeah, well, then I'm not sure. Again, this is, mind you, again, what I'm working with here on stream is prototype stuff. This is a prototype PCB. This case, this plate's all prototype stuff. So there may be some additional adjustments to the final production units people get. But the Bloody Eyes would be the one who can really kind of answer that. So, yeah, so I think the Bloody Eyes is in and out of chat, so like he can definitely probably answer, or just go on his Discord, or I can post more. I'm going to have this board for a little bit, So we can definitely post it publicly and just kind of say like, hey, these are the plate colors for aluminum that we'll have. So, and again, also too, Welvin, if Alps do interest you, again, we are Careless designed the Alps plates for this particular board, which is really nice. So Careless really kind of came in clutch, contributing his knowledge and know-how of Alps and understanding of Alps to design the Alps plate files for this board. So that's something that's really cool. So again, I have the plate files. I have those sent over to Tom over at Hype Keyboards, and Tom is manufacturing those particular plates. Oh, silver. So there we go, Welvin. So if you want a red plate, you'll probably have to either spray paint yourself, get it coated yourself, or just make your own, get your own red plate made. So now we're putting in top mount, everybody. So we're going to see how top mount sounds. So we're going to get a much stiffer typing experience out of top mount. So the bottom button, bottom mount. God, that is a mouthful. The bottom mount for this board is very bouncy, so that's really, really nice. So if you like a bouncier typing experience and not something that's like stiff and very harsh, you're really gonna, I think, have a really good time with that bottom mount on this particular board. That's a really creative bottom mount solution, and I think that's gonna give people. I think people are gonna be really happy with that particular solution on this particular board. So that is pretty good. So I gotta go to the bigger bit for this one. And then we'll do a little bit of a sound test on this one and kind of showcase top mount. And then we'll go from there. So there we go. We're getting that going. Perfect. Let's get these corners in and then we'll showcase this one. Yeah, silver will be good, but honestly, like, I'll be completely honest, the Alps plates I had made for Tom, I requested red. So when I do the Alps builds, we're going to have a red plate. So just as an FYI, when we do that Alps stream, and again for the Bloody Eyes, dude, like Tom is waiting on that aluminum stock to make the. He needed more like material and stock to make a full size plate. So I'm hoping Tom can get that stock in before the end of the group buy, because I would love to do the Alps stream while the group buy is ongoing. If that doesn't happen, again, we are for sure going to be doing an Alps build stream for this particular board, because I can't wait to show you all the absolute madness we're going to do for Alps here. We're going to put some ridiculously expensive switches in this board and have some really cool keycaps that we're going to put on this thing. So it's going to be a really sick build that we're ultimately going to do for this board. So it's going to be a blast for the Alps build. So we're going to use some cool keycaps and some really cool switches that Careless is actually going to be providing. So, which is going to be really nice. So I'm getting some really expensive switches on loan from Careless for the particular Alps build. All right, friends. Here is top mount. So this is going to be much stiffer. As you can kind of see, there isn't really any budge. Like before, like with that bottom mount, it was very bouncy, very soft. Again, this is the thing with top mount, especially if you do top mount with an aluminum plate, it's going to be a very stiff typing experience. Yeah, no, so we're going to be doing, I have a metric crap load of ambers on hand. I actually have enough ambers to build this board. We're not going to use ambers. We're going to use something a little more expensive, way more expensive. So just, that's all I want to say for the build there. But let's definitely do a sound test on this one, and we'll see how this one comes out. So. Cool, that is awesome. I'm gonna get a quick picture of it just because like this is such a kind of crazy one, because I do want to replicate this for like proper photography later on. So that looks really, really cool, everybody. So that's awesome, folks. I love it. So I'll be completely honest. This might just be my bias coming through. I really like the top mount a little bit more than the bottom mount. Again, I prefer top mount, so like the harsher, stiffer typing experience doesn't bother me. I think personally for the sound profile especially, I like the sound a little bit more of the top mount out of these long pole Gateron Greyishes. But that's just me. So I think that's kind of showcasing this board with a long pole stem that's a tactile. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna put Ruber hose away. We're gonna put the Gateron grayish away, and we're gonna use Cherry MX Nixies, which are a really kind of classic linear OG switch. And we're gonna put on the greatest of great sets. We're gonna put Greg on this board, so that's gonna be like absolutely hilarious. So let me get to that one going. So let's start. Let me get my keycap puller, and we're gonna start putting this set away carefully. I'm also very OCD on how I pack my GMK sets, so we're gonna start putting we're gonna put Ruber hose away, and then we're gonna get the switches taken off, and then we'll get ready to start putting Nixies in this thing, and then we'll get ready to start put Greg on this thing. So just so we're kind of working smart and harder. When we do just Bloody Ice for perspective, we're going to get this disassembled, and then we're going to put Nixies and Greg. We're going to start off with top mount first with the Nixies, and we'll end the stream with the bottom mount in the Nixies, just so we can people can kind of hear both of your mounting styles with two very different types of switches. So the Gateron grayish and just being long pull stems give you a distinct sound profile and distinct feel. For both of your mounting styles, and then we'll be able to give it a more classic linear switch, because I think tactiles or linears are going to be what the vast majority of people who purchase this board are going to put in it. Again, I'm one of the few crazy people who's interested in the Alps capability, but I think that's what most people are going to do, is a linear or a tactile. So that's what we're doing. So we're just pulling these off, getting it going. But yeah, this is the Ruber hose. I think was a fun choice for the set. Because Ruber hose is just kind of one of those more kind of insane, kind of crazy particular boards. So this one was really, really good. So I'm really excited how this one turned out. So yeah, looking really good, friends. So all right, we're just taking these ones off, and we are making really good time today. So that is really nice. I think we'll probably be out of here probably just under the 3-hour mark on this particular stream. I think that's a really good, because we're giving a pretty good comprehensive look at this particular board. But I'm really excited for this particular project. So it's been really fun looking at this board. And again, we got some fun, absolutely insane projects in the future for this particular board. But the hurdy-gurdy, man, I might put ambers in this thing too. In addition to the switches I'm getting from Careless, I think I might take my set of ambers and try them out in this board. Because that would be kind of cool to put like clicky Alps in here, and let alone very expensive clicky Alps. Those ambers are like $3 to $4, like probably like $4 or $5 a switch. Those things are freaking expensive. But I have like a nice stockpile of amber Alps on hand. That would be pretty cool to do. So in addition to the switches that Careless are sending me on loan, which is going to be pretty cool. So yeah, we got a lot of fun, crazy, insane plans for this particular build. So just getting that put in, and we'll get the rest of these gray keycaps put away. So yeah, one thing about this set, it's so massive, the entire set doesn't even fit in the box. That's just kind of, Ruber hose is, again, a legitimately massive keycap set. So like what you get for it is pretty good. And it's just a fun set, realistically. So it's a really fun set. So I'm glad to have it. Again, it's nice having it in the GMK library, GMK rotation, because I think Ruber hose is just a fun keycap set to put on boards if you just want to do something absolutely insane. And also having Greg too. We have the greatest GMK keycap set ever, which is Greg, which we're going to put on soon. So we're just getting this one disassembled. But yeah, we'll probably be out of here just under the 3-hour mark, which will be pretty good. I think that'll be a good, comprehensive, long VOD stream we can do. So let's just put the space bar and our number pad away. I'll just manually take the space bar off. So, perfect. So, all right. Yeah, we're good. I'm like, am I tripping? I'm like, no, I'm not. Just putting this away. So, I'm very OCD in how I put my GMK sets away. So, I like everything to be nice, neat, and organized where it's supposed to go. So, it's a good time. All right, let's get that one. Woo. Look at that, everybody. Look at that. Cool. Looking good, everybody. Look at this. All right. Okay, cool. We got the main part of the set put away. So let me just get that part put away. And then we'll get an additional part of this as well. So get that one put away. Perfect. And then let's get the rest of the colors put away. Perfect. I'm going to take these ones off by hand. They're pretty quick to remove. And then we'll get these ones going. Perfect. So. And then we'll get the grayish removed. So. That looks pretty good. All right. All right. Perfect. Perfect, 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 everybody. We're almost there. Cool. Let's just put these color accents away. Perfect. You can see also our board stripped down, which is pretty cool. All right. Let's disassemble the board now, and then we'll get ready to put Greg on it and put the Nixies in. So we got the bestest boy. We'll just have Greg sit off camera, just watching us. Greg's silently just watching us, everybody, judging us. Greg loves you. Look at that. There's Greg. So there we go, everybody. Greg is the bestest boy. Just always remember that. So. All right. Getting those. Removing all 10 of these screws, everybody. Look at that. Okay, so we're keeping it going. And we got Greg's stupid face right there, everybody. So Greg is going to look amazing on this board, so. All right, cool. Let's flip it around. Let's get that JST unplugged, and we'll get the top mount undone. Perfect. Let's put the case over here. Let's move my keycap puller over here. There we go. We got Greg just watching us. All right, let's pull out the top mount screws. Let's get our bit swapped. All right, let's come along, friends. All right, so. And there we go. Getting that top mount undone. Perfect. All right, there we go. And then one more. Then we should be good. Perfect. All right, let's put the top case on it for right now. We'll leave her there. There we go. Now we'll start removing our Gateron grayish. So let's get those. Oh, let's not block Greg. We need to see Greg. Greg's the bestest boy. So. All right, let's start over here. All right, start pulling these out, and then we'll get ready to start putting Nixies in. So this is gonna be super, super awesome. All right, we'll do a couple different builds on stream, and again, this is just to kind of give us a nice different feel of different sound profiles on these particular boards. So that's going to be really nice. All right. Awesome. going, everybody. Cool. Getting those pulled out, everybody. Good times. Good times, everybody. So, we're going to do, again, this will be our second build we're going to do with this board. It's going to be awesome. So, we're just getting these out. Perfect. Again, this is the benefit of Hotswap, everybody. We can do multiple builds on stream. And it's not a complete pain in the ass. So, good times, everybody. Good times. Cool. Cool. Almost there. Cool. Awesome. Alright, last one. There we go. Alright, let's put grayish to the side, everybody. We're done with gather on grayish for the night. And we're going to go over to the classic Nixies. So, this is going to be super cool. So, I'm really excited for the Nixies. Got a metric crap load of them. Alright, got a mountain of Nixies. So, let's get the Nixies installed. So, alright, so let's do it. Nixies are probably one of my favorite switches. So, again, we have Greg just right there watching us. So, good times indeed, everybody. Alright, perfect. Hey, hi Bloodyezkb. I finally convinced you to join. Look at you, sir. I mean, dude, Bloodyezkb, once you see the Alps build we're going to do with this thing, it's going to be absolutely crazy. So, it's going to be a fun time, man. Like, it's going to be an absolutely fun build. So, we just did our first build with long pole, gather on grayish tactile switches. Now, we're going to do a second build showcasing linear switches with Cherry MX Nixies. So, that's going to be really cool. So, we're just kind of doing two different builds on stream tonight. We're not doing Alps for the purposes of the stream because I don't have the Alps plates yet. Once I get those in from Tom, we will be doing a proper Alps build in this, and I'm going to get some help from Careless. I'm getting some very, very expensive switches from Careless to do something kind of insane with this board. So, kind of stay tuned. If I do get the plates, I would love to do the Alps stream while the group buy is ongoing. But if Tom doesn't get the material in to make the plates in time for the group before the end of the group buy, then we will we'll do the stream after the group buy. But I'm pretty sure everyone who will probably purchase the board will probably have somewhat curious about Alps. Because again, the Alps support is here on this board, and we have the Alps plates designed by Careless. So, oh dude, it's going to be amazing, dude. I cannot wait to see the Alps build in this. Which is going to be cool. So, but for when we do the Alps build, we're doing an AT101 build because we have this case. So, like I said, we are doing a special run of PCBs that'll support Macintosh keycaps. So that is something that is going to be interesting. But for the purposes of our Alps promotional streams, we're not going to have those PCBs until the board is actually delivered. So we'll just mainly be doing AT101. So I got a cool AT101 set that we're going to use, which is going to be super, super sick. So really excited for that build. So, all right, got that one. But yeah, someone gave me some ideas for another Alps switch we can use that Careless is different from what Careless is sending. I'm like, that's a really interesting idea. I think we might do that too as well. So, because it'd be cool to do something like just kind of pick the more expensive Alps and do like something just insane with this full size for the Alps build. So we're definitely gonna keep our options open for crazy stuff that we can do with it, because we're definitely going insane on this on the Alps build for this. And again, like my personal Alps build that I eventually plan to build, and my personal ETAR that I is going to be super sick too. Because like another thing with this group buy, like this prototype was sent to me by the Bloody Eyes, but one thing about it I think is just interesting as well is like I'm going to be purchasing a unit in the group buy with my own money. So because I will, the Bloody Eyes is being very generous and is going to let me keep this board for a little while. So I can do some interesting content with it, specifically with Alps. But I'm really thankful he's loaning this board to me to really kind of showcase to all of you, like, why this is a board you should support. But it's really going to be cool to kind of see the Alps stuff that we're going to do with it, because it's going to be crazy. We're going to do some pretty crazy Alps stuff and do some cool Alps content, for like the dozens of us that exist for Alps enthusiasts, because we are small, but we're good. So it's a good time. So, but yeah, we're almost there. We're just filling in the alpha cluster, and then we'll switch this thing over to top mount, and then we'll put Greg, the bestest boy, on this. So I absolutely love GMK Greg. It's like such a great meme set. Oh, these Nixies are gonna be so good. These are gonna be so good. Such good Nixies, man. One of my favorite like actual like cherry switches. Like I love my MX Blacks. Like I have my MX Blacks and like my Kohaku, but like I actually but I really like Nixies. So these aren't OG. These are like new production Nixies. I know some people really love the OG Nixies. Like some people have like they search after like the vintage cherry MX Blacks, so like West German or something like that. But I don't know. I do like my Nixies. They're fantastic. So really good stuff here. So we got some good Nixies. Oh, what's that going? Don't want to bend any pins on this thing. Let me get those lined up, and there we go. Should just go in. There we go. Why is that not going in? Let's put it over here. There we go. Yeah, they should go in pretty easily. So there we go. Yeah, these Nixies are going to look really good. And also, this red plate for the prototype looks really sick. The Bloody Eyes said the production units are going to come with silver plates, so don't really get the nice of the red plate. Red plates are definitely a vibe. So, I mean, if you want a red plate, get your own custom plate made. So, hello, Ring. So, yeah, so definitely going to be super sick. But yeah, again, like the Alps build, like part of why another reason why this board really interested me, in addition to just Alps, is it's an F-Rowless full size, which means I could potentially do a build with Macintosh keycaps. Because Macintosh keycaps, as cool as they are, the problem is the F-Row with those Alps keycaps. So the fact that there's no F-Row on this makes this board a perfect one. So, yeah, just checking the chat. There we go. So, yeah, it's good times though. There we go. It's good times. And that should be, we gotta put one more right here. And then last Nixie here. And then we gotta put our modified switches right here. Yeah, Nixies are pretty good. And then also just a note for the prototype. The sockets, the switch sockets for these, the control, the right control and right alt, didn't line up on the PCB. That's just a quirk of it being a prototype. So I have these just kind of junk switches I had that I cut off all the bottom stuff and filed them down so they're just flush. So yeah, they don't line up for a 7U bottom row. So they're just kind of dummy switches here just to kind of have the keycaps there just for the looks. So let's put our top mount on. And then we'll get this thing, and then we'll put Greg on. We'll try out some top mount, and then we'll do we'll switch over to bottom mount, and then we should be good to get on out of here, everybody. So, pretty good. So let's get this top mount in here. We'll do top mount first, and then we'll switch over to bottom mount. But yeah, I do love Nixies. That's part of the why I wanted to use them to kind of represent as a linear switch in this particular build. So like I'm a big fan of linears. I do love tactile Cherry MX switches. But just something about linear MX switches I just always have loved. Like a lot of my like personal Cherry MX builds use linear switches. That's just kind of the feel and this kind of sound profile I liked out of those my Cherry MX stuff. So pretty good stuff there. So we're gonna get it going. So all right. Alright, oh, come on. Come on, there we go. And then do this one right here. Perfect. Awesome. Alright, cool. We got our top mount in. So we'll get it mounted and then we'll put Greg on. So we'll get everything mounted. We'll put in the bottom screws. And we'll see how these Nixies sound on this particular board. So it's going to be sick. So there we go, friends. Awesome. Looking good. So let's get our bigger bit for this one. Alright. Let's get dump these long bottom screws out. Let's put them in. So again, we have 10 bottom row screws on this particular board. So that is awesome. Perfect. All right, let's get it going. All right, getting our 4 corners in, and then we'll be ready to put the bestest boy on this particular keyboard. Alright, almost there, folks. Cool. Yep, there we go. Awesome. Alright, got our Nixies in. Got our Nixies, and of course we got our dummy switches here. Cool. Alright, let's get Greg, because Greg is the bestest boy. Let's get Greg's stupid face on this keyboard, because it's going to be amazing. And of course, we're going with Greg. Look at this, everybody. Come on, we had to do Greg. Like, there was no other option for this keyboard. Like, we had to do Greg. Like, that was just kind of non-negotiable. Like, Greg is definitely one of the sets we had to put on this board, because Greg is just an amazing set. Like, if you don't have GMK Greg, you gotta get it. Like, it's just such a good set. And it's just like one of those like goated sets. And like whenever you take Greg to like every keyboard meet you go to, someone will bring Greg. Someone will have a board with Greg on it, and it just makes it amazing. So like Greg is definitely like one of those like all-time like great keycap sets, because just of how hilarious it is. Because it's just genuinely funny. I mean, come on, it's Greg. It is Greg. Kind of get the other part of the set too, because this is a big set. Hey, we could do Evil Greg if we wanted to, but we're gonna do Classic Greg. So, speaking of Greg, I mean, we have to put Greg's name on it, because if we're gonna do Greg, look at that. See, we gotta put some Greg novelties on this thing, because of course we do. So. And now we're going to see Greg's stupid face start to form on this thing. So it's going to be awesome. Alright. Yeah, but Greg is definitely one of the... Woo! Nice. Love those Nixies. Alright. Coming along, friends. So Greg is, you can see Greg's eyes. You can see Greg's derpy face. So Greg is goated. All right, let's get our shifts here. Sounds so good. All right. Let's get that bottom row. I think I'll, oh crap, I didn't put the space bar in here. That's okay. All right. I'll have to go grab the space bar. It's in another box. It's all good. But yeah, you get to see Greg's derpy face. Let's have Greg give everyone the middle finger. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed this. I put Greg on TKLs before, and everyone always comments how the arrow cluster looks like Greg's flipping you off. Does anyone else notice that? Like, Greg's totally flipping us off, which I think is hilarious. So, just as an FYI, that's what Greg is doing. When you put Greg on something bigger than like a 65%, like a TKL or full size, Greg's flipping you off. So, because again, Greg is that kind of boy. So, all right, let's put our numpad on. Let's put our I know. Yeah, thanks, Welvin. I'm glad I got a laugh out of that. But yeah, Greg's totally flipping us off, just FYI. Because that's what Greg does. So I'll have to get my space bar, and I need to look up the diagram of Greg because of the bottom row, I never know sometimes in that one. So let's just get this numpad here. But yeah, I think Greg was a great choice for this one. Because yeah, Greg is pretty hilarious. Ooh! Alright, let me look at my diagram for Greg. So let me look up GMK Greg really quick. Okay, GMK Greg. Okay, yellow control goes right here. I need a black alt. And then a yellow alt and control. Yeah, I always forget how to do Greg sometimes. All right, cool. All right, let me go grab my spacebar because I keep my spacebar kit in a separate box. Give me a second, friend. All right, here we go. Hold up, I'm still on. All right, so there we go. Still on. Nope. All right, let me grab Greg. Okay, there we go. Give me a second, everybody. Just gotta gotta do a Discord. Sorry, I gotta answer this Discord thing. Give me a second. All right, everybody. So let me put the Greg set back. Let me just put Greg. Ah, crap. All right, here's Greg, everybody. So there we go. We got Greg on this board. I think Greg is a great choice for this board. It's very different. I think this is the board we're going to put it. So, yeah, what's up, Fateful Stranger? Yeah, I mean, we're putting Greg on it. I think this is what I'm going to use for the initial promotional. We're going to post a bunch of different photographs of this board with different sets. But I think Greg, for the initial promotional build, I think I'm going to use Greg because I think that's just different. So let me see how this sounds. So this is going to be top mount with Cherry MX Nixies. So All right, give me a second. I just gotta. So, sorry about that, friends. Cool. All right, cool. Looking good, friends. So let's tear this. Let's put that bottom mount in. I think that sounds pretty good, friends. Yeah. Hold up, friends. All right. Let me get it going. All right. Doing this, everybody. Almost good. So yeah, thanks for seeing Greg, everybody. Greg is like such a great option for this board. So, almost there. All right. Good times, everybody. Good times. Almost there. Almost there with the bottom mount. Cool. Yeah. Hold up, everybody. Give me a second. I gotta like mute myself really quick. Give me a second. All right. There we go. Cool. Good. All right, we're good. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my audio sections, everybody. All right. Let's drop those screws out. Perfect. Let's make sure all the screws are out. Perfect. All right. All right. Almost there. There we go, friends. All right, cool. Wait, hold up. Give me a second, everybody. Mom, this is like a big break I'm trying to do. I want a big break. I'm the company, I'm the CEO on, Mom. I'm sorry. This is my big break. All right, sorry about that, friends. It happens you live with like other people, everybody. So, all right. Good times, everybody. Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah. All right, fun. There we go, friends. All right. All right, almost there, friends. So we're just undoing the top mount, and then we're gonna, those of you maybe jumped on a little bit later, we're gonna show you the bottom mount for this particular board. So that's what we're gonna kind of get into next, everybody. So, there we go, perfect. All right, so let's put the top case to the side for right now, and we're gonna focus on the bottom case because we wanna put in the actual kind of creative bottom mount on this board. So we're gonna get these little bottom mounts. So it's really kind of cool. So they uses these little plastic things, and these little rubber things are called, the Bloody Eyes calls these bottom buttons. So it's a kind of a isolated bottom mount, which is really cool. So it gives you kind of a nice, flexible, bouncy typing experience because the top mount on this board is very, very stiff, very, very firm. So that's something that's really kind of cool in terms of different kind of appeals and looks and feels for this board. And the Bloody Eyes said, like, this was the mounting style that this board, when he designed this board, this is what he initially intended for this board. So, which is really nice. So it's nice. We're going to be able to showcase this particular one. All right. All right. Getting those in, everybody. So yeah, Greg is fun. So we're almost there. We're on the home stretch of the stream, everybody. We should probably be out of here in the next 15 or so minutes. So that's pretty good. I think we're going to keep it with this isolated bottom mount, which will be nice. Oops, we got to find the screw for this one. There we go. All right. All right. Yep, sorry about that. Almost there, friends. All right, almost there. Got a couple more of these bottom button mounts, and then we're gonna be able to really kind of feel how this board should sound. So this is what this board was designed for, is this particular bottom mount. So we're definitely gonna try them. Let's get these little screwy screws in there. Yeah, we're almost there, friends. All right, there we go. That one's in there. Let's put that one in there. Cool. All right. There we go. So we got that bottom mount in there. So we have these little kind of rubber things that kind of stick up. The Bloody Eyes calls these bottom buttons. So this is going to give us a nicer, kind of softer typing experience. Less kind of harsh, less stiff compared to the top mount. So we're going to kind of see how these sound with Nixies, which is going to be really nice. Let me just line everything up. Yep. And there we go. We got that lined up. Perfect. And Greg, of course, we see Greg's stupid face here. It's awesome. Let's get this top case on, and then this will be the last bit of our sound test and building. And we just, All right, good. We're looking solid. So let's get my larger bit. Yeah, but Faithful Stranger, thanks for coming on. And everyone else who has tuned into the stream, and again, a big thank you to the Bloody Eyes. All right, let's put in these final bottom screws, and I think we'll be good. Yeah, so, Welvin, I have seen that particular board. That board's been in R&D for like over 2 years. And Gian, I think, recently announced like they were doing some redesigns on that particular board. They kind of went back to the drawing board, so that project's going to be a long way out, be completely honest. I'll tell you what I'm more interested from Gian actually is the Glare TKL R2. So Gian, like the Glare is like one of the TKLs I have, like one of my end game like TKLs I really, really want. And Gian is going to be doing another, he announced today that he's working on a R2 of the Glare. And I'm like, it's not going to be cheap. Like, we're probably going to be a north of like $500-600 board, but like, it's so freaking cool. And that's one that probably interests me more. The Gian, the F18X, yeah, if you look on Gian's Discord, there's a Glare TKL R2 channel now, and he posted just the case that they're going to work with. But I don't know. Gian's very slow. I mean, the board could be here by the end of the year. It could be here in 2027. Gian kind of takes his time with projects, but it is in development. They're doing R&D right now. I don't know if they're in the prototyping phase, but they do have a case for it, which is going to be super sick. So, all right, folks, this is like the home stretch. This will be our final sound test, and then we're going to get on out of here. All right, so here's Greg with that bottom mount, and as you can kind of see, if you look at the shadows towards the top, you can see that bounciness. This is a lot more flexible. You can kind of see that piece of the PCB kind of moving. So this is a much softer typing experience and not as harsh as like the top mount. So let me just let's do a little bit of a sound test on this one, and then I think we'll be good to get on out of here, everybody. So. All right, so everybody, I think that's going to conclude our build stream. We built this board 2 different ways. We built it with Gateron grayish long pole tactile switches, and again GMK Ruber hose, and we kind of highlighted the building styles for that particular. Again, both the bottom mount and the top mount, and then we also highlighted. Again, this board with linear switches with Cherry MX Nixies, and we highlighted the top mount and the bottom mount with GMK Greg. So I wanted to give a really kind of good idea of what this board sounds like with 2 different switch types, 2 different keycap sets. The nice thing is this is going to come in a wide variety of colors. This is again the ETAR87 by the Bloody Eyes. This board is going to be running on group buy September 25th to October 15th, and the base kit's going to cost $355. It's going to be run through a wide variety of vendors. If you're here in the United States like me, our primary group buy vendor is going to be GeekHack. So I just want to give a huge thank you to the Bloody Eyes for sending this prototype out and allowing me to build it on stream and to share it with all of you. And I also want to give a big thank you to GeekHack for being one of the vendors who agreed to take on this project and facilitate this group buy. So again, huge shout out to the Bloody Eyes, the designer of this keyboard, and a huge shout out and thank you to GeekHack for again being one of the vendors for this group buy. If you want to see additional content on this board, Lightning Keyboards did a stream of this about 2 weeks ago, so you can go see that on his YouTube channel. Alex Odos is going to be doing a stream next week, and also Jay from Prototypist, and I believe Black Simon will also be doing it as well. And again, oh, nice. So that is really cool. So again, we have other content creators who also give their feedback, their input, also let their audiences see this. I'm going to be posting, I think for my official promotional photo for this board, I think I'm going to post it like this with Greg and Nixie's in the bottom mount. I think that'll just kind of help this board stand out, because I don't think a lot of people are going to expect Greg on this. So that'll make it different from the post that Lightning has on it. So the Bloody Eyes, if you're still on here, if you're cool with me doing promotional photos with Greg, like that'll be really cool. But I'll take some photos tonight after stream. But I just want to say a big thank you also to all the viewers, everyone who tuned out, whether you were here for the beginning or you sat through the whole 2.5 hours we've been on here on stream. This is a great group buy. Again, this is the ETAR87 by the Bloody Eyes. It's going to run from September 25th to October 15th and will cost $355. And this is a fantastic project, and I really hope you take the time, think about it, make an informed decision, and consider supporting this project. So thank you so much. Again, the Bloody Eyes, you're awesome, brother. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity, Bloody Eyes. Again, I can't express how grateful I am for the opportunity, and I feel, again, really blessed for this, my man. So thank you so much. Everyone, have a great rest of your evening. Wherever you are in the world, or have a great day. Again, the VOD of this will be on my YouTube channel probably the next hour or so. So again, be on the lookout for that. The Bloody Eyes, I'll send you the actual photos I take of this. And again, any social media posts, I'll make sure to tag you on that just to verify we have proper details. But thank you so much, everybody.